money. It's a racer magnet. $1 million for a Legends car race. Only one guy I know could come up with that idea. For a prize like this, they've come from all over. The rich and the poor, the wicked fast and the wishful thinkers, fathers and sons, male and female. From hobby racers to stars of the future, school kids to geriatrics, everybody wants a shot at $1 million. Just imagine what they'll do to win.
Charlotte Motor Speedway on a very racy feeling kind of a Saturday night. Been a little damp here over the last couple of hours, but it's drying off nicely now, and the action is heating up. Action indeed as we bring you the Legends Million. Hello everyone, I'm Dave Despain. $1 million for a Legends car race. These are essentially little entry-level automobiles that on a given Saturday night typically race for a trophy or perhaps a couple of $100. Tonight they're going to race for $1 million prize money. Not surprising that drivers have come here from all over the country, all over the world to try to win the big prize. More than 300 entries from 35 states, the U.S., Canada, and the Netherlands. The youngest driver is 12, the oldest 72. Now, this division has been a stopping point along the way for a lot of big-name drivers, including some top-of-the-line Cup stars, the Busch brothers, David Ragan, Joey Logano, Jr. You see the list there. In fact, 28 drivers from the top three divisions in NASCAR have made a stop in the Legends division along the way, including David Ragan, who we welcome to the show and to the race. You're in it. How come? What's up?
Yeah, we've been working hard for the last few weeks. You know, a lot of people think, you know, let's just get a Legends car. Let's go out here on a Wednesday, Thursday afternoon, and let's see if we can qualify. But we've been planning this for several months. My cousin that's on Carl Edwards' Nationwide team, he's basically the guy that's been, you know, in charge of getting these cars built and working on them in the evenings. And so, you know, I've got to thank UPS and Jack Roush for letting me come out here and have some fun this weekend. And
obligatory sponsor.
Our cars are fast. I was surprised to get in, you know, on qualifying in the first day. I've got another car myself that a friend's driving, so we're in, and the hard stuff starts tonight.
So what happens if you take the money out of the kids' pockets here? Are you going to just put that all toward your Cup program, or what happens to the money?
If that'll help them get that UPS car into victory lane, maybe so. But, you know, there's a lot of good people that have helped me along the way. I've got some of their decals on the car tonight, and, you know, I've got a job Monday through Friday, so I don't, you know, need to come out here to make money to pay my water bill at the house.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm going to spread it around. I've got a couple of guys that work for me that really put a lot of it into this deal. But, you know, you're not really thinking about the money. You know, I want to win the race. This is the biggest Legends car race in the history of the sport. So there's a lot of good names that are here, a lot of good racers that are here. So I just want to win the thing.
It'll be fun to watch. He's starting second with pole sitter Doug Stevens alongside his old mentor.
That's
Tonight's
right.
the night to get even with him. We're going to head down now to the guys who are going to be patrolling pit road, Matt Yoakum and Marty Snyder. We'll start with Matt.
Dave, Big Money always brings out legendary names. Jeff Bodine, his racing resume is simply Hall of Fame. He's won in just about everything, including the Great American Race, the Daytona 500, and he's one of NASCAR's 50 greatest drivers. And Jeff, you're hoping tonight is a race to remember in a big way. Why?
Well, that's right. Really in two ways for this series, the race for $1 million. That's going to be a race that we're all going to remember. But I'm donating all my winnings to the Alzheimer's Foundation, and that's kind of a play on words, a race to remember. I've learned how terrible a disease that is. It's going to the Brevard County Alzheimer's Association in Melbourne, Florida. And we hope we take a lot of money back to them. But you see all these sponsors on my uniform, and they've paid the bills to get me here. But we're going to donate all that money back to the Alzheimer's Foundation.
You've had a big smile on your face all week, but how difficult has it been to get acclimated to this type of race car?
I could never dreamed a car so little would be so hard to figure out and work on. I've worked my tail off on this thing for 3 weeks, and I still haven't figured out what to do with it. But I've had these drivers, these crew guys in this Legends Series are really great. They've helped me a lot, but we still have a lot to learn.
Jep Bodine, 60 years of age, having fun, while Marty Snider is standing by with a young gun.
Exactly right. One of the great things about this series, Matt, you have Jeffrey Bodine, all the experience, and young 12-year-old Kyle Weatherman out of St. Louis, one of the fastest cars all week long. And unlike a lot of guys, this kid's already in the race. He's already in the big race later tonight. So is it intimidating, Kyle, you being 12 years old, to race against guys 3 times your age?
It is a little bit, but, you know, you just got to keep on looking up and say that you're racing against the best people like David Ragan. It's a lot of fun, and I hope to beat him. You
have been one of the fastest here all week long at 12 years old. Can you win this winner's share of the $1 million purse?
Yeah, anybody can. You just got to be strong at the end and keep on moving forward.
And Dave, when you're 6'4" and you're interviewing a 12-year-old, you need a little help. So I put him on some tires here. Kyle, very small in stature, but very talented behind the wheel. Watch out for that 06 car tonight, David.
I thought you handled that challenge magnificently, Marty.
Yes,
he mentioned big money. Well, think of it this way. On an average Saturday night, these guys race for $250. Tonight, the winner's share is $250,000. We'll be back to meet more of the young guns right after this. Speed's presentation of the Legends Million is brought to you by Cabarrus County, where racing lives. Cabarrus County, home to an unequal concentration of motorsports attractions. For more information, please visit whereracinglives.com. And racing is coming up. The original mission statement for the U.S. Legends Cars International called for fun and affordable racing in which anyone can compete. Well, as noted, we've got drivers aged 12 to 72. The first feature tonight, young guns aged 12 to 15 and semi-pros 16 and up, drivers with just starting their Legends careers. Tonight they've got their own main event with a big league team to broadcast it. Mike Joy and Larry McReynolds.
Thanks, Dave. Hi, everybody. We are in the pace laps for the A main event for the Young Lions and semi-pros. And they are not just running for their own prize money of $25,000 to win, 15 grand for second and 10 for third. The winner of this race will be offered a deal or no deal by our own Howie. That would be Don Hawk, of whether they want to take their winnings and turn it into a starting spot in the $1 million main event. So, I mean, what kind of fun for these fellas. You get to race for maybe the biggest purse of your career, and you get a chance to go for the million.
And I got to believe whoever's offered that they will take the opportunity to race in the biggest Legends race that there's ever been. And the interesting thing, Mike, Sean Rahal on the pole, he's already locked into the Legends Million by virtue of another car that he had entered in that division. So he's pretty much racing for $25,000 to win.
So on the pole is a 15-year-old 10th grader from Georgia. Dad races historic sports cars, and we are ready to go with Sean Rahal up front. Gregory Lang on the outside, a spin in turn 4, flames one car before the green, and yes, the track is damp from torrential rains early in the day, and way off goes Lang in turn 1. He's out of here.
They're 3 and 4 wide through 1 and 2, and even though these tires have grooves, they're still not necessarily designed to race in the rain.
New tire for this series this year, Federal Racing Radials, and they do have full-depth rain tires, but these drivers have not been on track today in the rain as yet, so they're getting their first look at the track in wet conditions. Rahal is the leader, Kyle Hall in the 69, Jake Knight in the 93, Ryan Flores the 441, Mason Massey alongside in the 15 for 5th.
You know, looking at Sean Rahal in that 14S car that's leading, he's only been in Legends racing for about 6 months, but his first, second finishing position is about 80% of the races he's competed in.
Couple of spinners at turn 2, but things move on unless the track is blocked. Trouble for Flores, 441, falls from 3rd. Deep into the field, car won't go, and caution waves.
Yeah, Ryan Flores in that 441. He is actually a fabricator at Roush Fenway. We got a lot of guys that work in the Cup shops as fabricators, mechanics that actually race these cars on their summer shootout, which is racing on Tuesday night for 10 weeks here at Charlotte.
157, Justin Carroll, the car that spun at turn 2 to put us under the caution flag. 2 laps complete of 50. As we still have a few spots to settle for who gets into the $1 million race tonight that you'll see live on Speed. Legends Racing at Charlotte Motor Speedway, the Legends Million. At Charlotte Motor Speedway, we're working up to the Legends Million. This is the feature event for the Young Lions and Semi-Pros. Sean Rahal has led from lap 1. Mississippi's Jake Knight is the second place car to start up alongside as we get ready to go for the restart. 2 of 50 laps complete, and Gregory Lang, who started on pole, actually did get back in the race. He's running 18th. 08. Gray Galding is one of the drivers on the move. He will restart 14th, getting ready to go. 48 laps to go. $25,000 to win. Green flag.
Yeah, Jake Knight in that 93 started on the outside of that restart, and he was able to get down in behind Sean Rahal. And we got a couple of cars that's off outside of turn 1 and 2. It's about a lake out there.
Yeah, Timmy Hill, I think Timmy was one of them. And the 2, Brady Boswell, moves up to 3rd, and he's off at turn 3 and going for the long way around out through the dirt.
Mike, that's the biggest mistake I see these guys make in the wet weather is overdriving the entrance to the corner.
Andrew Harris spins at the entrance to turn 1. Oh, and he gets collected hard by the number, I think that's the 16. Well, I don't have a 16. Going to be the 161, Alex Pacheco. Really hit that car hard, and we're under caution again. Matthew Cardenas, the 71, is the car that got hit. Oh, he was just sitting there. They were hoping the car would get going and get out of harm's way, Larry.
Yeah, you can see him sitting there. He can't go. And
Pacheco,
I think it's the 161 just comes along, and it just nowhere to go, and knocks the right front completely off the 71 car.
Heavy rains earlier today, wet racetrack. It is drying, and it probably will be dry by the time we get the $1 million race underway. The line around this racetrack is traditionally right down around the bottom, around the inside, around the white line. But the rain line is a groove or 2 higher up the racetrack, and that is challenging these drivers right now, with Sean Rahal leading from Jake Knight, Kyle Hall, Austin Leitner, and RS Center, the top 5. Andrew Harris' car is going to go up on the hook. That's how they pull him off here. Here's Marty Snyder.
Alex Pacheco out of his car. What happened?
Well, we were going down the front stretch. It was really misty out there. I couldn't see anything from the roost, and just kind of got into the corner and locked up the brakes and just slammed into them. I feel bad for hitting them. I feel bad for my crew. They did an awesome job. 860 Motorsports is the best crew out here. Legends Action's been great to me. I mean, I can't thank everyone enough for getting me out here. We just had some bad luck.
Yeah, and the right front torn up on this race car. One of the problems, real quick, Larry Mack, is that a lot of these drivers have on rain tires, but the track starting to dry up just a little bit, so that's really going to affect the racing here in a bit.
Yeah, Marty Schneider was telling me earlier when we were at commercial break, a rain tire is simply the same tire that's just not been cut. It's like a brand new tire.
That'll be a long ride back to Saugus, California for Pacheco. Ready for the restart. 3 laps complete. And Rahal spins the tires. He's going to lose the lead to Kyle Hall in the black 69. Now, where is he?
Yeah, Kyle Hall elected to start on the outside, and let's see what kind of fight he can get off the corner. But Rahal gets the lead back going down the back straightaway.
Austin Leitner 3rd in the 105. The 8B up on the outside, that black coach, Hunter Bledsoe, as everybody makes it through turn 4 this time.
Yeah, but the more this track dries out, of course, this is a 50-lap race right here. The more this track dries out, the less those rain tires are really going to work.
Kyle Hall backslides all the way to 8th place because he didn't get a good run up off turn number 2. Rahal back in the lead.
Mike, I'm going to tell you, a car on the move is a 08 car who's 3 wide for 5th place right now. In fact, he's trying to take 3rd place away. Remember, he started back in the 25th position, Gray Gaulding.
Gaulding now up for 4th. Marty.
Yeah, guys, and he is one of the great young personalities here in the Young Lions series at the Normal Summer Shootout. When they made the press conference for this $1 million event, they hired him, or I didn't hire him, they brought him in for the press conference, and he stole the show, sitting up there saying, I wouldn't take the money I'm winning this race. I want the 250 grand. Great young personality and very talented behind the wheel, just 12 years old, guys.
His nickname, Little Thunder. He says, I'm here to become the next Jeff Gordon. That's a tall order.
You know, our 2nd place car, the 8B car, Hunter Bledsoe, I think we need to make note. He's sitting there running 2nd. He started back in the 21st position. So I think this has been a race in the wet where we've had a lot of comers and a lot of goers.
Jake Knight from Mississippi is 3rd in the number 93. Gaulding is 4th, and Gaulding is now under fire from Brady Boswell in the black red numeral number 2. Things seem to have settled down, Larry. 8 laps complete under green now.
Well, I think these guys realize finally, okay, we've got a lot of laps to go. We need to settle down a little bit.
Well, Boswell didn't settle down. He got into the side of Gaulding to make the pass and move the number 2 up to 4th place. Matt Yocum.
And Mike, when you look at this young man, Gray, in the 08, his mentors, Denny Hamlin and other fellow Virginians, Jason White, both Sprint Cup and Truck Series drivers, and he told me the biggest thing that they passed on to him was be patient and let it come to you. Don't try to be too over-aggressive and dig yourself into a deeper hole. In fact, he has spent a lot of time up at Kevin Harvick's personal go-kart track, running go-karts, learning from Harvick, the Daytona 500 champion, as well as Hamlin and White.
Thanks, Matt. 10 laps in the book. Ray Hall leading from Bledsoe, Knight, Boswell, and Gaulding. Austin Leitner now 6th. Langenstein, Austin Langenstein 7th. Kyle Hall 8th. Jake Morris and Dusty Summers the top 10.
Hey, you see Jake Knight in that 93 car. He's under fire from Boswell for the 3rd position. I actually talked to Jake Knight this morning. He's 16 years old. I said, what is your greatest accomplishment, Jake? He said, well, it's not actually a win, but through racing, he was able to launch Freedom Isn't Free. It's a campaign to recognize and honor our military. In fact, his race team sent all types of care packages overseas to our military.
Great effort. 12 complete. Let's pick up your leader, Sean Rahal. Now they spell it with a Y, R-A-Y-H-A, and 2 L's, but there is a connection to the Bobby Rahal of IndyCar fame.
We got a spinner down here in turn 3 and 4 that looks like the 25 car.
29 car. Mike Weed would be this car, and he gets going again. And these drivers are told, if you spin, grab a gear and get going. We're not waiting on you.
Boy, Sean Rahal in that 14 car, he has built up a 5.5 second lead over Hunter Bledsoe, which around here is about a 1/3 of a lap. The guy that's going to start on the pole tonight in the Legends Million, Doug Stevens, actually sets the car up for Sean Rahal.
All right, we had a spin by Mike Weed. It did not put us under caution. Ooh, came from contact with T.J. Michael. So we're still under green. 15 of 50 laps complete for the Young Lions and semi-pros. $16 laps complete. In silver and red, that is Sean Rahal. Doesn't spell it the same as Bobby, but there is a family connection there, Larry.
That's what I was told, that there are actually some cousins or whatever here, and I guess they have changed the way they spell this Rahal to R-A-Y-H-A-L-L.
Marty?
Yeah, guys, and as you mentioned, he works at the Doug Stevens shop. Doug takes care of his car and mentors him, and that's pretty high caliber stuff when you come to the Atlanta area, because he's mentored guys like Reed Sorensen, David Reagan, and they really feel like this young kid Rahal is one of the next superstars, maybe not only on this level, maybe even in NASCAR as well.
Well, very composed drive for this number 14 so far. He has led every lap. Hunter Bledsoe now 7 seconds back. Brady Boswell, Jake Knight, Greg Gall are the top 5. Kyle Hall in 6th. Leitner, Summers, Langenstein, and Morris the top 10.
You know, thinking about Sean Rahal, our leader, is, boy, we got him 3 wide down the back straightaway. Greg Gaulding in the 08 car, he's going to get 2 of them at 1 whack.
Right behind this pack coming into view, that is a pitched battle through the raindrops. Now this is Bledsoe, Boswell, the 8 and the 2, 2nd and 3rd.
But you know what I was going to say about Rahal, most of his experience is in Formula open wheel racing on road courses, which you tend to believe they probably run several races in the rain.
He's coming up to lap Gregory Lang, who started on the pole, shot off into turn 1, but has recovered nicely, running in 15th. Matt?
Hey, Mike, you talk a lot about the road course racing, and that's where his background really started in racing. And one of his mentors, legendary road racing ace Jack Baldwin, has mentored him on and off the racetrack. And he said his big goal is just to use the funding that he earns here this week, and he would love to put together a short ARCA package to start and move up to the stock cars. But this young man, a lot of talent, and has a big future.
Well, I know walking through the garage area this morning, a lot of competitors were pointing at this young Sean Rahal, said this is the next real deal right here.
2nd place battle, Boswell, Bledsoe. They've really been going at it. Things got a little close coming off turn 4 the last time around. You see that rain line that they're running, Larry? Oh, trouble in 1 as Rahal spins out Lang, trying to lap him. Rick Lang's car trying to get refired, and he finally does move it out of the way. So Rahal continues without further incident.
But that was a close call for our leader. In fact, we're 1 lap away from halfway, and we only have 14 cars left on the lead lap.
Show you what happened. There's Rahal on the inside, Lang on the outside. Rahal just pushed right up into him.
Yeah, his car just washed up right in the middle of the corner. These cars actually have a fairly short wheelbase. They're only 73 inches wheelbase. They weigh about 1,100 pounds.
Halfway for the young Lions and semi-pros.
See Ryan Flores there in the 441. Remember, part of that very first caution, he has stayed on the lead lap, but you can see he's about to fall victim to Rahal, our leader right there in the 14S.
Flores in 13th place. Rahal now has 9 seconds on Boswell. They are not allowed to run radios in these cars. No contact with their crew or a spotter. They all do, however, run the receiver system. They are required to be in touch in a one-way radio, listen only, with the control tower, which aids in lining up restarts and keeping things moving on the racetrack, keeping cars being lapped up and out of the racing groove. Marty.
And because you can't communicate, the crew kind of sits back here and guesses. I just talked to Doug Stevens, the crew chief for Sean Rahal. He said one of the things he's noticing, the front stretch is much drier than the back stretch is. But he said Sean, before the race, was extremely nervous. He said this is the first time he's ever been in a Legends car in the rain. He said, I have no idea how much power I can put down and what to do. So Doug gave him a real quick lesson on how to best approach the rain. And obviously, Mr. Stevens knows what he's talking about, doesn't he, guys?
Very much so. He's a legend in Georgia Legends car racing.
Yeah, he told us that he had a huge hand in about 16 cars here this weekend and probably has some indirect contact with probably 30 to 40 cars here over the race weekend.
Hunter Bledsoe in the number 8, now 11 seconds back, and under fire there from the 29, which had gone a lap down. Working the high line is Bledsoe, and he's not under challenge for 3rd place. Kyle Hall is another 3 seconds back. 20 to go in this event. The first of 3 features we'll see live tonight, at least 3 on tonight's card, and it's been a full day of racing here that started at 1 p.m.
You know, just going back to that battle for second place, I know they're 10 seconds behind Sean Rahal, but Brady Boswell in the 2B, Hunter Bledsoe in 8B. Just remember, Rahal is already locked into the Legends Million, so that means the deal or no deal to transfer probably is going to go to that second place finisher in this race.
That's right. And should he decline, they'll go and talk to the third place finisher. So we can fill this field to race for $1 million tonight, live on Speed. Speed's presentation of the Legends Million is brought to you by Cabarrus County, where racing lives. Home to an unequal concentration of motorsports attractions. For more information, please visit whereRacingLives.com.
Our leader, Sean Rahal, in this 14 car, he has been threading the needle through a bunch of lap cars. His next car in sight that's on the lead lap would be Jake Knight in the 93 car. Jake's running in the 7th position.
Really been a smooth drive for Rahal.
I just want to stress this race pays $25,000 to win. It paid $1,000 to start. In fact, the total purse for this race is over $105,000.
Number 2, Brady Boswell. That's your second place car and likely the driver to have a chance to advance. He races out of Watkinsville, Georgia. Boswell Electric is sponsored.
We had the 4 car, and that brought the caution out because he could not get going down in turn 3 and 4. It's the 4K of Kason Plott. He's actually 3 laps down right now, but that will bunch the field back up. And remember, we have that choose where the entire field gets to choose inside line or outside line for the restart.
We see this in a lot of short track series where with 1 lap to go before the green, the cars will come to a cone stationed at the entrance of turn 3, and you have lane choice. And what we've seen seems to indicate that the top, on a dry track, the top 4 or 5 drivers would stay on the inside line. Somewhere about 5th or 6th, somebody will jump out and go to the outside of the front row and hope they can jump in line and steal a few spots. Sometimes it works.
Cautions do not count, so Mike, I've got to believe with 13 laps to go, you're going to maybe see the guy maybe 3rd, 4th, or 5th jump to that outside, just trying to get one more shot to try to win this race.
On a rain race like this, on a wet track, even the leader might choose the outside lane because that is where the most grip has been as this track begins to dry. Again, one of the great things about this receiver system that they use is that the tower has told car number 2, move up behind the leader. Car number 8, move up behind the 2, and put everybody in position. I miss the short track days where the starter would climb down off the stand, line everybody up by hand, point to the car that caused the caution, pat himself on the rump, telling him to go to the back, and the crowd would go wild. But that's very time consuming.
But it is
much better system.
It is neat, Mike, with as much.
93, bring on around. You're still in the lead lap.
You're hearing the tower instruction.
But it is neat
bring on around 93.
That with 13 laps to go, the guys battling for the win. The 7 guys on the lead lap are at the front of this pack.
Well, it'll give Rahal some work to do over these final 13 laps. Now, drivers were allowed the opportunity to enter more than 1 class, and Rahal has done that, so he's already in the $1 million race. He chooses inside, and the 2 of Boswell goes outside. Bledsoe inside, Hall outside.
And you have to choose by the time you get to that cone. You see this guy right here. He's got a big sign that says choose.
Now, the way the rule plays out from here, if they do not complete a lap on the restart, then they will go back to the caution flag order and line up single file. If they complete 1 or more laps, then they'll choose again on the next restart.
It took us a while to figure that out last night. I mean, what a weekend, though, for this series, including the Bandoleros. You know, well over 300 cars here for this 3-day event at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
300 Legends cars are here, almost 100 Bandoleros. The beginner class, we'll see some of those in action a little later on as we work our way toward paying out $1 million tonight. All right, Rahal, Boswell, Bledsoe, Hall, Summers, Gaulding, Knight, and Corey Gordon are the top 8 as we go back to green. 13 laps to go.
Now Boswell, who was a second-place car, went to the outside trying to get that run on Rahal. He gets a pretty good bite off turn 2 down the back straightaway. But here comes Rahal on the inside in the 14 car. Very easy to overdrive on this wet racetrack. Boy, did Boswell get a good run that time. He'll take the lead.
I like that outside lane, Larry. In these drying conditions, the track is still quite wet. So you get up there where the track has a little bit of tooth to it. And the new leader is Brady Boswell. Sean Rahal runs in second. There's his father, Charles, watching from pit side as we've got 12 to go.
Now, Charles did some racing. I talked to him this morning. He said just never was that good, but he enjoyed doing it.
Into third now, Dusty Summers. In the 44, out of Missouri. Kyle Hall in fourth, Hunter Bledsoe, Jake Knight, Ray Gaulding, Austin Langenstein, the top 8.
So we'll be coming 10 laps to go with Brady Boswell in that 2B car, trying to win $25,000 or the opportunity to move to the Legends Million race later on the night.
And Kyle Hall gets way too high out of turn number 2. He's going to lose the 4th spot, as Dusty Summers is closing on the leader. Summers in the 44 from Boonesboro, Missouri. That's Maryland, excuse me. Boonesboro, Maryland, the Bad Boy Mowers. Number 44. Trying to pick him up and mow him down and get to the front and have a chance at the $1 million purse.
The good thing about that caution we had with 13 to go is we're going to have 8 to go. I don't know that our leaders will have to deal with any lap traffic unless someone spins out trying to get back on the racetrack. I mean, Dusty Summers, what he would probably certainly hope that if Brady Boswell wins this race, that he will take the money, and then that maybe would offer Dusty Summers in that 44 the chance to move on to the Legends Million.
Boy, what a big night that would make this for that 10th grader.
The Legends Million pays $10,000 just to start the race.
You know, I've been to a lot of races, didn't pay that much to win.
But, you know, David Reagan said it in the pre-race, you know, I think once you get to racing, we go to the Daytona 500, we know it pays $1.5 million to win. Who cares? Right. You're there for the trophy.
Things are tightening up with 6 to go. Boswell, Rahal, and Summers, those 3 have a straightaway to themselves, but they may catch traffic before this one ends.
Yeah, contrary to my statement a few laps ago, they are starting to catch the back of the pack, as now it will be 5 laps to go.
Boswell was real loose off turn 4. Here comes Rahal. Takes it high into 1. Diamonds the corner just a bit, and he's got it to within 2 car lengths. Rahal sniffing the lead from Brady Boswell's black number 2.
They definitely have caught the back of the pack. 4 to go this time.
Boswell needs to find a lane. He's blocked by a left car.
And Rahal
does it.
And here comes Dusty Summers in that 44 car. He's trying to get up in there. But Rahal definitely used that lap car for a pit.
I think Boswell made his choice too late. And now he taps the bumper of Rahal as they work the inside. And here comes Dusty Summers in the 44 for second place.
3 wide down the back straightaway, and Summers will get it.
Bledsoe, or Boswell rather, drops to third. Bledsoe fourth. Rahal and Summers, 1-2. 3, make it 2 to go this time. Rahal works under lap cars in turn 1, and he's trying to check out. I don't think Summers has anything for him except a long gap between himself and Brady Boswell.
Rahal clears this car here, and when he comes onto the front straightaway, he'll see the white flag this time. Honestly believe Dusty Summers right now is perfectly content to sit back there in second place. He's over a second behind leader Sean Rahal.
Well, are you smarter than a 10th grader? Because two of them are going to finish 1-2. A pair of 15-year-olds. Sean Rahal has just won $25,000. 15 grand to the runner-up Dusty Summers. Brady Boswell third, Hunter Bledsoe, and Gray Gaulding are the top 5.
So we know with winning that $25,000, he's already locked into the Legends Million. He's going to take away minimum $35,000 away from here tonight. Now, will Dusty Summers deal or no deal? We'll have to find out a little later, I guess.
Let's show you that pass for the lead. That decided it all. The 2 gets blocked up behind a lapped car. Sean Rahal will go to victory lane. His dad Charles with him. It's a big night already in Charlotte.
Welcome back. If the least experienced drivers in the field are any indication, we're going to see some great racing tonight. Here are the results of the semi-pro Young Lions main event. Sean Rahal has to win it twice. Builds a huge lead. Late yellow. Loses the lead to Brady Boswell. Comes back to win it using traffic. Nice piece of work. That's your top 10. 25 grand to win. Rahal is already in the feature tonight, and he's standing by with Marty Snyder.
An impressive run for Sean Rahal. Now, how did you use the traffic there to help you out to get the lead back?
I had one chance, and I took it, and I just went with it, and I got by Brady, and Brady fell back and kind of got caught up with him. But we had a great car from the get-go. The tires went away a little bit at the end, not allowing me to get front grip after that restart. But once again, Doug Stevens gave me a great car and brought me home the win. Yeah,
let's talk about Doug Stevens, because he gave you a last-second, very quick learning on how to do this in the rain in a Legends car, because you had never done this before, had you?
This was my first rain race in a Legend car, and we got on grid, and I said, Doug, what do you think? And he said, go fast, turn left, as he always does. But then he gave me a good lesson on just watch the front straightaway and make sure you run the high line, and I was set.
I'm sure there was a little bit more to it than go fast and turn left. The young man collecting checks this weekend, Dave. Sean Rahal wins.
And remember, Doug Stevens, his mentor, is the pole sitter for the $1 Million Legends race tonight, so he'll be racing his protege. Quick reminder, Wednesday night, Speed Primetime hits the gas. Series premiere of Stealth Rider, followed by a sneak peek at the new season of Pink's All Out. And then it's the series premiere of Intersections. 3 great original series begin Wednesday night at 8 o'clock Eastern, only on Speed. We move to the other end of the age spectrum. The Masters, the over 40s, are next. Welcome back to Cabarrus County, where racing lives. Charlotte Motor Speedway hosting the Legends Million tonight. The over 40 set take to the track next. We'll go back up top to Mike Joy and Larry McReynolds in what should be a fun race.
Well, of course, Dave, we both fit into that over 40 set, but we've been here more as bando dads, let's say, than the over 40 crowd. Marty Snyder's son raced today. My son, Phil Parsons, who's winging his way here from Gateway in the truck race to join us. His son was here, and of course, Larry's son, Brandon, was national champion in the Bandoleros. So kind of gives you a great sense of pride to see these young fellows and these older fellows get a chance to race for so much money.
Well, that's what I love about this whole weekend, and I love about this series, the INEX series with Bandoleros and Legends, is the diversity of ages, but the diversity of people. You've got kids that aren't even out of grammar school. We've got a man here racing in this next race that's in his early 70s. A lot of different agendas. Some people just having fun, some people trying to enhance their racing career.
And somebody trying to win $250,000. Let's see who that will be in this Masters feature event. These are drivers over age 40. Clay Hare, who has 45 feature victories since this class began in some 19 years ago, when Humpy Wheeler and Elliott Forbes Robinson conceived the idea of Legends cars and helped form 600 Racing under the umbrella of Speedway Motorsports. Tim Brockhouse is in the hippie car on the outside pole as the rooster tails go up from a still wet racetrack. John Sossaman, Brian Weimer, Jeff Jordan, Hoyt Demas, David Denham, Eddie Harwell, Jason Rochelle, Billy Gomez. That's the top 10 of this 30-car field. There's the 00. Looking very stylish. And here we go, green. This is also 50 laps, and it is for $30,000 to win. We're under green.
Clay Hare jumps to the bottom. He'll take the lead. And And right now, Brockhouse is under fire from, he'll lose the second position to John Sossaman in that 14 car.
Brian Weimer on the inside for third in the white number 40. And the 81, Jeff Jordan in black and blue moving up. 33 on the inside. David Denham going for a piece of fifth place, and he's going to get it into turn one in that black-white numeraled car. Double O fights back on the outside, no avail. He's in fifth. 33, power move to the inside, Denham, third place.
Yeah, Denham started back in the 7th position, and he's already made his way up there well inside the top 5. We've only completed 2 laps so far.
Bill Parsons, arms tired from all that flapping and flying to get here from Gateway, but we're glad you could join us.
Thank you. Glad to be here. I hate I missed all the action, and I'll tell you, this racetrack wet now is a whole different animal.
Oh, yeah. Well, congratulations to Stefan on his 4th place finish.
Thank you very much. I
Beginner
appreciate
Bandits
that.
today. Great run. As we've got a great one here for 50 laps. Clay Hare on the outside. He may lose the lead to David Denham in the 33. Down low, Denham takes the front spot. And Bill, for the first time tonight, the low groove is starting to come in as the track dries.
Yeah, that's what it looked like early on, that Clay was using the outside, running offline like you typically would in road racing. But looks like now that David is now in the center of the racetrack and doing a nice job.
How about this 54 car of Brian Sockwell? He got 2 spots at 1 whack. He's going to move into the 2nd position.
Wow, he just flew right up through the field.
Yeah, I definitely think that the bottom groove's starting to dry, and these guys are getting good bite down there. Actually, it's probably cleaner than it was before it even rained.
Absolutely, and Brian's got a lot of experience. We've seen him in the Truck Series over the years. Tremendous amount of experience in the Dash Series as well.
Up front, David Denham goes way wide, and he's going to lose the lead to car 54, Brian Sockwell.
Yeah, people did the crossover move on him going in 1 and 2 when the 33 car Denham went too high getting into 1 and 2.
You know, guys, I was over here the other day and ran a legend car for the first time, and you can tell right now,
33 in trouble.
David Denham in trouble.
Pulls to the inside and then grabs a gear and gets going again.
But you can tell that how much this wet track has affected these cars, because I'm telling you, those things fly.
Spinner, 33, turn 2. Everybody gets by, but that takes David Denham out of 2nd place. And we stay green. They tell the drivers, grab a gear, get going. We're not waiting on you. If the track's clear, we'll stay green.
Yeah, he was trying to get going, but it was a whole line of cars. But he'll finally get going as now here comes the leader, Sockwell, that's going to try to put him a lap down.
It looks like Brian Sockwell is on a dry track, and everybody else is on a wet track.
Let's show you the spin of car 33.
He was having some sort of a problem earlier because he was really, really slow, and then around he goes, just trying to get the power down a little too quick.
So he's going to go from running up there inside the top 2 or 3 to now a lap down. We've got 29 cars that started this race. Now we've got the 2 car that's backwards coming off turn 4.
Is that Voigt Demis?
It is. And he is able to get going once again. So the track getting a little drier, getting a little more grip. Drivers are looking for it, trying to find it anywhere they can.
How about the 96 car that just got by Clay Hare? Will Cagle, 72 years old.
Mike, definitely a fan favorite. We talk so much about the young men out here who began racing at the age of 15 here in the Legends and Bandoleros. Will Cagle did the same exact thing, but back in 1953. 30 track and series championships, a fan favorite up and down the eastern seaboard. In fact, he's a 1992 inductee in the Dirt National Motorsports Hall of Fame. And this guy came back to racing after a 22-year absence due to injury, side by side for third. What a great battle these guys are putting on here tonight.
Racing for the 5 and 2 program. Wiley Will Cagle at 72. Racing against kids, probably his grandchildren's age in some of these classes.
Yeah, Will has over 900 feature wins. In fact, he raced at Daytona in what we used to call the Permatex race 4 times in the early 60s. And hadn't raced in about a year and a half and started preparing for this weekend.
Will Cagle has won more races in his career than I've raced.
All right. Good battle here. 96. Cagle challenging. And we'll see Brian Sockwell get a little bit frustrated with Stephen Pye right there. Trying to move him over. So your leader from Brown Summit, North Carolina, Brian Sockwell, with 13 of 50 laps complete for the Masters. Speed welcomes you back to the Legends Million, presented by Cabarrus County, where racing lives. Brian Sockwell out in front of this Masters Division feature event, 18 of 50 laps complete. Thursday on Speed, strap in and hang on for the premiere of the Hot New Series, Battle of the Supercars, with Paul Tracy and Tanner Faust deal with the fastest, most exotic machines on the planet. Presented by Michelin, premiere Thursday night, 10 Eastern, only on Speed.
Brian Sockwell has lapped all the way up to 16th. Only 16 cars right now remaining on the lead lap.
Yeah, he's built over a 7-second lead over the 40W car of Ryan Weimer.
And Weimer had his hands full of Will Cagle, but now they are separated by about 3 seconds. The 40W, the white coupe, is Weimer. That coupe, one of 10 different body styles available for Legends competitors.
Yeah, the 40 car is another one of those cars built by Doug Stevens, who will start on the pole in the Legends Million race a little bit later on tonight. Brian had raced in a while, but decided to run this weekend with a Doug Stevens car.
Now this race also features, for no deal, the winner gets the chance to forfeit part of his $30,000 first prize for a chance to run for the million later tonight.
Boy, we got them stacked up here 3 wide coming down the front straightaway. That'll work on the straightaway. It gets a little tough when you get to the entrance of the corners.
14, John Sossaman led that group into the corner ahead of Jan Ingram in the 7th. Here's Marty.
Hey guys, Clay Hare. The biggest surprise of this race probably is that Clay Hare, the guy who's won more races than anyone here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, back in 13th position. I just talked to one of his crew members. He said, you know what? I think we just dialed ourselves out of it this morning. Everyone expected him to run up front. They made a lot of changes to this 29 car. Clay clearly struggling in the back of the field, and that's quite a big surprise, Mike.
But Marty, I guess my biggest question, did they plan on a damp, wet racetrack as they were making those adjustments?
They have rain tires on. I don't think they planned on a damp racetrack with the adjustments. Clay told me earlier today he felt like he was a top 5 car, not a winning car. Clearly they made the wrong adjustments, though.
And here comes the leader, Sockwell, right up behind Clay Hare.
I dare say that probably Clay Hare has never been lapped on this racetrack here in Charlotte.
That's George Whitney to the outside of Sockwell going a lap down.
Yeah, Clay does a lot of lapping himself, but very rarely you would see him in that 29 car getting lapped.
Over halfway now, Mike.
Sockwell has built up a 9.5-second lead, or actually over a 10-second lead right now, which is about a half a racetrack with the lap times they're running right now.
You know, it's amazing, Larry, how well these cars handle it. I drove that car the other day. They're very responsive to the throttle. They turn in the corner good. They stop well. They rotate well, and then they come off the corner nice and straight. It's an amazing job that U.S. Legends cars have done with these cars.
One of the beginning tenets of this series would be that the car would always have more horsepower than it had tires, so that grip would be in the hands of the driver and not in the hands of the people doing the setup. You really have to work to drive these cars, as you found out this week, Phil, because you can spin the tires at any moment for any reason. So to keep that car under you is a tall order.
Brian Sockwell has done that thus far.
He's coming up to lap the 10th place car, Jan Ingram, in the 7th.
Yeah, the engines in these cars, they're a 1250cc Yamaha engine. Most of the horsepower they measure on a chassis dyno, which is what the rear wheels is put to the ground. A lot of the guys told me somewhere around 135 to 140 horsepower at the rear wheels.
Now watching Sockwell.
See him in the yellow and white car there. You see his hand right there above the 5, and Matt, do you know what that's all about?
Larry Mack, I think that's just a good idea, just how well that machine is handling here on the racetrack about the last 6 or 7 laps. He just has that hand resting on the door. But we talk a lot about the price point of this package for the past almost 2 decades. $13,500 to grab one of these cars. The bumpers, $25 a piece. It hasn't changed in nearly 2 decades. And over 5,500 Legend cars have been built. Every single one of them have been built on the same exact jig as 600 Racing.
And Sockwell's almost in trouble right there. He got way down to the inside, trying to put a lap on the 13. Now he's being challenged by these lap cars, and he almost put a wheel off and went wrong.
Put the bumper to the 13 car just now.
Brian Sockwell in 1997 was the runner-up to Mike Swain Jr. for the NASCAR Goodies Dash Championship. I don't know about this driving one-handed thing, Larry.
I'm not sure about all that. You drove one the other day. Did you want to drive it one-handed?
I needed an extra hand.
But he has built a 13.5-second lead as we now have about 17 laps to go in this 50-lap race.
Somebody's going to win $30,000 and have the chance to go for $250,000 as Legends Million Night continues in Charlotte. Speed's presentation of the Legends Million is brought to you by Cabarrus County, where racing lives, home to an unequaled concentration of motorsports attractions. For more info, visit whereracinglives.com. We're ready for the restart. 16 to go. Brian Sockwell has led most all this race. He's on pole. Wiley Will Cagle, 72 years old, has come from 4th to choose the outside of the front row for this restart. This could be big.
Boy, he gets a good bite through 3 and 4, but Sockwell's going to take the lead. Can Cagle get down before the 40 slams the door?
They're side by side now entering turn number 1. Will still on the outside.
Weimer up for second in the 40. Here comes Jason Rochelle on the inside in the 148. Then it's the 17. Ira Lowy and Thomas Pistone in the 72.
Boy, Will Cagle, he drove it down into turn 3 that time, and he definitely paid the price on the exit of the corner.
So Cagle drops to 4th, which is where he was running at the time of the caution.
I don't disagree. If you follow the leader, you'll follow the leader. So let me start outside the leader one time.
Hey, you never know if maybe Brian...
Whoa, spinner in 3. Pistone went to the inside on the 17, which went around and is now backing up out of harm's way.
We stay green so far. No caution as we've got 14 laps to go.
Well, that was 2 cars trying to fit into one spot as the 72 came in there and took the 17 around.
The 17 took a very shallow line into the corner, and the 17 had committed to the bottom.
So the race is for second. Sockwell the leader. Ira Lowy is the car that went around. And second, boy, they are hammered on each other off turn 2. The 40 of Weimer, the 148. The car with the black roof is Jason Rochelle. And here comes Will Cagle back after them in the 96.
But just remember, that's a battle right there for $25,000. That's what second place pays in this race.
25 for second, 20 for third, 15 and 12, the top 5.
And also remember, if Brian Sockwell wins the race as we're coming to 11 laps to go, he decides he wants his 30 grand, then the deal or no deal would be offered to the guy that finishes second.
Great battle for second here between Weimer and Rochelle. So much at stake here with just outside of 10 laps to go.
7 cars on the lead lap. Jason Rochelle is from Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Patriot Towing and R.H. Cooper sponsor Racing Jason, who's competed since 1990 and races at Susquehanna Speedway.
But if he's going to pass Weimer, he's going to have to do it, I think, on the outside. But he comes to the inside. Let's see if he can win the battle. Weimer drives it down in there, but Weimer's been hugging that white line through the corners.
That's definitely the way to go around this racetrack. The quick way around is the bottom.
Yeah, as this track dries, that white line becomes your friend.
And you can tell this track is drying. Yep. You can see it. There's some dry spot right there off of turn number 2.
Weimer and Rochelle, second and third. Cagle looking in.
We've only got 6 cars left on the lead lap as we've got 8 laps to go in this 50-lap run.
And then the car behind them, Dennis White, is a lap down.
pretty impressed with 72-year-old Will Cagle, no matter how this race transpires.
You know, I told you about his over 900 feature wins. He told me, he said, Larry, my biggest win was Longhorn, Pennsylvania, in a modified back in 1966.
My brother Benny ran Langhorne back in 1969 in a full-bodied 67 Ford Fairlane against all the open-wheel modified cars.
Second place, side by side into turn number 3. And Rochelle took it in a little more gently. He's trying to drop to the bottom, get a bottom shot, but didn't have the grip off the corner.
And while they're doing this, here comes Will Cagle back in that 96 car.
And every time one of these cars runs his left side tire across the grass, that just makes that very bottom groove just a little bit wetter.
Yeah, it's actually throwing mud and water up in that groove.
Will was watching our sons run the other day and came over with a bit of advice, Phil, and he said, you're hanging back on those restarts. He said, you want to get up there where you're just ready to bite the back bumper out of that car when they drop the green. And the boys took it to heart, and they did well.
Good.
And I think that's what Rochelle is doing right now to Weimer. I think he's trying to beat the rear bumper off that car, as we will now have 4 laps to go.
The bumpers only cost $25, right?
I think I bought about 5,500 of those bumpers over Brandon's career out here.
So if you buy enough of them, it adds up.
Exactly.
They sell 10,000 front bumpers a year.
Wow.
And 10,000 rears. Sockwell 5 seconds ahead of the Weimer-Rochelle battle. Brian Sockwell finished 12th in his first career start in NASCAR's Truck Series. That was at Homestead in 1999. Now, yesterday in the qualifying heats, Weimer beat Rochelle. They finished 1-2 to get into this race. That's how they're running right now, but there is a bit of traffic. They work past the 51 of Jamie Lane. And we're down to 2 to go.
Rochelle has tried everything under the sun to get by that 40 car. You just can't quite do it.
Inside, outside, middle.
Yep. Sockwell, white flag. Second and third have a little breathing distance on Cagle as they take the white into the outside. Goes Rochelle for second. Lap car high. He diamonds the corner and may get a run down the inside.
You see, get the power down, could he, Larry?
And Weimer actually protected the inside, but here comes they
touch, they spin. Around goes Rochelle as Sockwell gets the checkered flag. Jason Rochelle is going to fall to perhaps 6th at the checkered flag.
You could almost see that starting to happen on the entrance to turn 3.
Yeah, that ended up happening down in 3 and 4. That really started back all the way back in turn number 2.
Here you
Let's
go,
see if
Phil.
we can take a look.
Turn 2.
Trying to get the power down. Couldn't quite get the power down. Then moves to the outside. You're trying to squeeze them down to the inside. They make a little contact right there. The right front tire gets into the left rear, and around he goes.
Weimer pushes up as Rochelle closes down in. Somebody's got to go around.
That's just good racing coming to the checkered flag for $25,000.
Brian Sockwell is your winner. Victory Lane next.
A lot of people predicted crash fests for these 2 races. I'm very impressed with the quality of the racing. Brian Sockwell wins the Masters A main over Brian Weimer, who had Rochelle all over him until the end. Spun himself out of a $25,000 payday. Will Cagle adding to his career resume with 3rd place. Let's go down and hear from the winner, Brian Sockwell. Matt?
Dave, Brian Sockwell made it look easy, even one-hand driving for quite a while. $30,000 check. How big is this win for you?
Oh, I'm going to take probably a little vacation right here, just on this right here, and I can't believe it. I mean, we were, you know, when we first heard about they was going to have the big race, I run a little bit last year, and I didn't know nothing about it, the race, and I told my wife, you know, we got to get in. I was supposed to be on vacation all week down at Ocean Isle Beach with a bunch of us, and I opted to come here, and this was the only thing that was probably going to save my butt right here is this check. So here it is, and that's all right.
He's got a big check, a big trophy, but the big question coming up, deal or no deal, Dave?
Indeed, he'll have the opportunity to race in the Legends Million. Deal or no deal for him, and also for the Young Guns winner. That'll be coming up later this evening as we prepare for the race that'll pay $250,000 to win. I want to hear from Will Cagle. Been watching this guy race since I was a kid. He's 72. Let's hear from him. He finished third.
A fan favorite. And what a drive for you tonight, Will. Looked like you had a lot of fun.
Well, I got a lot of experience, and I'd like for some of those Nationwide and Cup guys to give me at least a test anyway.
Well, Hall of Fame numbers. For you, though, to be able to come back and race against people that are your grandchildren's ages, what's that like?
Hey, all I've ever known to do was race.
All right, well, congratulations. A lot of fun. And
race for a living, so, you know, this I still haven't lost it, evidently.
No, he sure hasn't, Dave. He was up on the wheel here tonight.
He was indeed. Winner of 900 features over his career, most of them in the dirt modifieds up in the Northeast. We'll take a commercial break. We'll come back and talk to the people that are going to write very big checks before this night is over. Stay tuned.
I mean, that's a lot of money to win for one race. I'm very excited about the money, but I'm also excited about the publicity. Probably spending on racing. That's just the sickness we have as racers. We'll put it right back in the car.
We're going to give all the winning money to Alzheimer's Foundation in Brevard County down in Melbourne, Florida. And they deserve to be racing for this kind of money. So I would never come here and try to get it from them. But to get it for charity, that's a whole different matter.
I guess I just give it all to my dad and see what he wants to do with it. If he wants to put it in racing, that's fine on me.
Oh, well, my goal is to get my grandpa a brand new Camaro, but I haven't decided on the rest of the money I'll do with.
I don't even know what I would do with $250,000. I don't even know if my dad would let me have it.
I don't want to plan anything with it yet. You do that, it's kind of bad luck. I come from an old school racing family, so you don't wear green, don't eat peanuts, and don't plan the celebration before you won.
I like his attitude. The Bandoleros are on the track. Now, this is the entry level into the entry level, if you will. Young kids in smaller cars. We'll update you on what's going on with these cars and how they have fared during the weekend. But first, I want to talk to the people who are writing the big checks this weekend. Jordan Smith, welcome. Nice to have you here. Marcus Smith, the second generation, taking the helm here. I said at the top, only one guy I could think of would come up with this idea. Was this, in fact, your idea? And why do you think it's a good idea to pay $1 million for what is essentially a grassroots race?
Well, number one, you know, we manufacture these cars about 2 miles from here, and we're now shipping these cars into Europe and other places. We're shipping right now. We have 16 other countries that are buying these cars. So this does many things for us. Number one, it puts an emphasis on these cars and what they're all about, and it just maybe it says a thank you to all of these participants we have here at the Speedway.
Who come here and race, of course, every Tuesday night throughout the summer. Marcus, you've taken the helm here at the Speedway now as president and general manager. From the track standpoint, we're accustomed to seeing big races here. From the track standpoint, why does this make sense?
You know, Dave, it's really just kind of part of Charlotte Motor Speedway continuing to be the hub of NASCAR. It's when you come to Charlotte Motor Speedway, you know you're in the heartbeat of racing country, and to have what is now really the Pop Warner of NASCAR. This is the backyard football that NASCAR doesn't have, but we have it now with Legends cars and Bandoleros, and that's what we've got with this race and the Legends Million, to be able to have this kind of event to really draw the attention around the whole country and bring in people from even other countries to come and race. It's really special, and just kind of builds on that excitement.
I'll toss this out to either or both of you. Does this change where Legends cars are in the food chain? Is this a way of saying thank you to these guys and promoting the business, as you mentioned, or is this the first step toward the day when we might see another level of Legends cars where they do race, maybe not for $1 million every weekend, but for bigger money? Is that any part of the goal?
Well, David, I think, number one, I've talked to NASCAR about what we're doing, and some of the NASCAR folks will be here this evening to be here firsthand, but we are manufacturing race drivers. I've said a long time ago that there may be 15 or 20,000 Jeff Gordons out there that we don't know about, but this gives them seat time, and and we'll find out. And we've already looked at some this week that we think will be some of the next Jeff Gordons and Jimmy Johnsons.
Want to elaborate on that?
Yes.
It's a great thing when you got little 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 12-year-old kids that get to come out here and really compete and have fun, but at the same time they have a chance to make a career out of it. 12-year-old is only 6 years away from being in a Sprint Cup car.
Getting ready to jump in a Cup car.
Yeah.
I guarantee, I went to the drivers' meeting this morning, I guarantee you your efforts this weekend are very much appreciated by all these competitors, and ours too. Thank you very much. We need a commercial break. We'll come back and get back to racing. But en route to that break, let's remind you that Speed's presentation of the Legends Million is brought to you by Cabarrus County, our hosts tonight, where racing lives. Cabarrus County, home to an unequaled concentration of motorsports attractions. Check out whereracinglives.com. Welcome back, Charlotte Motor Speedway. A couple of the preliminaries out of the way. Some highlights still to come. A lot of excitement. Time now to find out a little bit more about the actual process of driving a Legends car from a guy who knows all about the actual process of going from a truck race that got darked out last night to today to the complicated business of actually getting here. Phil Parsons climbed in a car before he left to go to Gateway and filed his report, as they say.
I'm going to give this a try. This is going to be my first time in a Legend car, so I don't know exactly what to expect. I've watched a lot of them. It looks like a blast. I'm going to give it a try.
All right, guys, help me out here. Let's critique what the guy's doing in the race car.
Well, he's concentrating awful hard. He's got a nice tight line down on the bottom of the racetrack. What's it feel like with that short wheelbase car?
I'm telling you, it rotates so quick. I mean, you turn the steering wheel and the thing responds. It was, it's like a big go-kart. It has, you know, some characteristics of a big go-kart, but also some characteristics of a big race car as well. So it was a nice cross-section of everything that I've ever done before, but I was really amazed at how well the car handles, how it accelerates, how it stops. I mean, everything about that you would want with a good race car, this thing will do.
Do you use a lot of brake with these cars getting in the corner?
Don't use a great deal of brake, but you do use some brake, and it's I mean, it's a lot of fun. And I'm telling you, you can overuse. You can lock the rear brakes up, or you can make it. You know, you can kick the back end out, as I said earlier. You can kick the back end out up off the corner and get the thing aimed down the straightaway.
Now, if I'd have known what those first two races were going to be like, I would have come over here with a garden hose and wet down one of the corners where you could really get the full feel of a wet racetrack.
Yeah, after watching these guys just now on that wet racetrack, I'm glad it was completely dry over here.
How about power to weight ratio? It looks like you've got a lot more horsepower than you can manage to get to the ground.
As Larry said earlier during the Masters race, you can spin the tires at any given moment. So that's what's really nice. It's a challenge for a driver. It's not like riding a fun go-kart somewhere where you can run wide open around there and that's all you can do. These cars, you have to really be on top of it, and that's what's going to really separate these guys later on here when they're racing for $250,000.
Could this be Phil Parsons' comeback tour?
No.
Okay. Just thought I'd check. Just asking.
We like it up here.
Hey, I watch those guys, how good they are. I don't think so.
We'll be right back to Charlotte Motor Speedway. Back to action at Charlotte Motor Speedway. These are the Bandoleros. These cars are powered by Briggs & Stratton V-twin engines that began their lives in lawn tractors. They're designed for kids from 8 to about 12. And Myatt Snyder, Marty Snyder's son, in the vault number 2, is leading this feature race with 2 laps to go. They started on a damp track. Pole sitter Riley Halverson crashed. Here is Snyder trying to hold off the number 54 of Clayton Green, and they're coming to the white flag.
Yeah, Clayton Green in that 54 car has come to life the last couple of laps. White flag.
Spinner in turn 1, way up above the leaders. Nice tight line for Snyder.
Got to stay tight with these cars. They do not like that wet concrete. And Wyatt leads his rear bonnet on the back of the car.
But here he comes, checkered flag. Marty's boy goes to victory lane at Charlotte.
How about that? Good job, Marty.
How about happy dad there?
Now that's a happy Bando dad.
And great job, Myatt, too, by the way.
The 15-lap feature shortened to 10 laps due to the wet racetrack and the 2 cautions at the start of the event. That is the third of 3 Bandolero features today.
Do you think Marty is the one that fastened that rear bonnet to that car?
Well, I hope not.
You're going to like this right here. That's a winning dad right there.
Right. From all of us, congratulations to our broadcast colleague Marty Snyder, but mostly to the kid who drove the car. There is Myatt Snyder, winner of the Bandolero feature after 2 previous races this weekend. He was very fast but had bad luck. Nice job tonight. Myatt, he's going to do well in the overall standings. And watch the acrobatics. Well, never mind. MotoGP coming to Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That's August 27th through 29th. That's a big deal. Speed offering specially priced 3-day ticket packages. Catch all the action. If you go to speed.com, keyword promo, you'll get a lot more information about that. Let's go from the happy kid to a couple of kind of fun members of the Masters class here at the $1 Million Weekend. Carlos Moore is an architect here in the area, basically designs race shops, and he's made a career out of it. Bruce Silver is the owner of Racing Electronics, which a lot of you probably know about. They're the racing radio people, and they have a subsidiary, the Raceiver system that Mike talked about earlier, that communicates with all the drivers. And they both drive Legends cars and have a lot of fun at it. Check it out.
Well, Carlos Moore is a real close friend of mine. He got me involved in Legends racing. He designed my building, Racing Electronics.
I talked him into getting into this racing, and the first 2 years I could beat him.
And then he started showing me Legends cars and encouraging me to come out here, not knowing that I would whip his butt, but that's pretty much what happens now.
I went down to New Orleans and went to the Voodoo Queen down there and got me a voodoo doll. And I've been punching little pins in him.
I think it's an unfair advantage, actually. I mentioned it at the drivers' meeting that the use of voodoo dolls should be against the rule book.
I think it's working pretty good. It makes me feel better.
Big part of what this class is all about. It's an opportunity for guys who can afford it, and it doesn't cost all that much. If you don't like golf, go race Legends cars and have a ball doing it. Let's go to Matt Yoakum. Matt?
Well, Dave, when you look at tonight's event, there's a big impact for so many different people, especially here in Cabarrus County. And I'm talking next to Mike Benassi from the Cabarrus County Convention and Visitors Bureau. Got it all out in one take. When you look at tonight's race, so many racetracks across the country host racing, but is this the place that has the biggest variety?
Cabarrus County is the place to be. Cabarrus County is a racing destination. Charlotte Motor Speedway, ZMAX, the dirt track. Charlotte is just an incredible place to be. You've got the new Hall of Fame. And we were talking the other day, all these other professional sports, Major League Baseball, the NFL, have got their Hall of Fame. But Charlotte, Cabarrus County is a little bit different. We've got the NASCAR Hall of Fame, but you just go right down the road. Over 90% of the race teams are here. You can get behind closed doors and see some pretty exciting things.
Let's say you've got a fan right now watching this event up in Oregon and they want to learn more about Cabarrus County and what goes on here. How can they find out what really is going on here in this area?
I suggest them to go visit whereracinglives.com. They can download a copy of our most recent destination guide, learn more about Cabarrus County, the accommodations, the attractions. Cabarrus County for racing is where it's at.
So much goes on here, and whereracinglives.com. Go there to that website and you'll learn all that's going on racing-wise in this area.
And with that, we draw ever closer to the big payday. $250,000 to the winner of the race tonight, the Legends Million. Whereracinglives.com. Racing lives at Charlotte Motor Speedway. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Charlotte Motor Speedway. We are very close to the green flag, starting a Legends race that pays $250,000 to win. 2 spots in that race for the winners of the 2 features we've seen thus far, or somebody who chooses to take the deal. Deal or no deal? Let's play the game as we go trackside to the Vice President of Business Affairs for the Charlotte Motor Speedway, Don Hawk.
Charlotte Motor Speedway alive with the Legends Million at Don Hawk. Tonight it's deal or no deal for some of these great young drivers who have won their way to this opportunity.
Yeah, Lenny, it's cash is king time, and we're going to see what kind of businessmen we got over here to our left. We're going to get a deal going, and why don't we just go right at it? Semi-pros and young lions. You know, the guy that won your race, actually, if you think about it, Dusty, he's already in the million. So you got a chance to come in. Come on over here. Get close to the money. Don't touch it. Just get close. How you doing? Are you aware that you have already won $15,000? Are you willing to give up $14,500 of that? I'll give you $500, and if you finish last, In a $1 million race, you get $10,000 more. That's $10,500. Deal or no deal?
That's $5 grand too less.
That's $5 grand less than you have right now. Actually, $4,500. But if you go in and you move up about 5 or 6 spots, you can make more money.
On a dry track, that ain't gonna happen.
What do you think? How about 4,000?
10.
Family, what do you say? Deal or no deal?
No deal.
No deal. All right, congratulations. You won $15,000. You're not in the million, but you won $15,000. Congratulations. Great job. Thank you. Smart guy. Gray, come on up. Gray. This is my 12-year-old investor. What are you going to do? You and I met earlier this week over $1 million. You have the opportunity to get 500. I'm getting cheap. I'll give you 500 and a shot at last place. Deal or no deal?
That's a lot of money. But I don't know. Let's hear from the fans. What do you think? Deal or no deal?
Everybody that thinks he should take the deal, yell now. If you take the deal, you're in. Deal or no deal?
No deal. I want to race this baby.
You gonna race? He's in the million. You got a deal. Next. Come on over. We got Brian Sockwell in the Masters division. Brian won. Brian won $30,000. I'm gonna make it real easy for you. You only have to give me back, maybe if I look at this, 10,000, and you have a chance at last place is 10,000. So you have 20 in the bag or 30 in the bag. What are you gonna do? Deal or no deal?
I don't know, but 30's a whole lot more than 20.
What if I said 22,000 total? And if you move up, you get more.
Maybe if you pay a couple of my bills.
I'm telling you, I'm kind of liking the way he's working. How about if we do this? Let's do this. I'll give you 25,000 of the 30 you won. Deal or no deal?
Okay, my bill is 600.
You're giving up only 5 grand for a chance to win $250,000. Help him!
I hope it rains. We're going to run tonight.
It's got a deal. Got a deal. Thank you very much. Also, I just want to thank Brian for being up here. Brian, you didn't get a chance to go at it, but we're going to go racing.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right, deal or no deal part is done. We have 2 other special announcements we want to make at this time, and it's very important.
And with that, the 31st and 32nd positions in the field are filled. There is a promoter's option. We'll find out who has that, and then we'll be getting down to racing for $1 million prize money. In all of American motorsports, only a handful of household names get to race for $1 million purse. Guys like Jimmy and Jeff, Dario and Elio. But tonight, an accomplished handful of local heroes, names largely unknown on the national stage, have the opportunity of a lifetime. The chance to chase a 7-digit prize in a history-making Legends car race. That's right, Legends cars. 3/4 scale copies of decades-old American machines, powered by modern-day Japanese motorcycle engines. They're a fraction of the cost of their full-time racing brethren. They race every week at local tracks all over the country. Legends cars. These are the heart of grassroots racing. And tonight, those roots get a liberal application of healthy green fertilizer. $1 million prize for a Legends car race. That idea has Bruton Smith's fingerprints all over it.
You know, we talk about $1 million, but we don't stop to think how much money that is. So it's a lot of money.
And we're about to find out what people will do to win it. Here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, the Legends Million, presented by Z-Max. getting set to roll. You've seen the young guns in the semi-pros. You've seen the Masters division, the youngest and the oldest drivers in this entire field. Now you're about to see the best drivers. These are the pros. These are the guys who accomplished their starting position through a qualifying procedure that ran over 3 days' time, and some of these guys are wicked fast. Let's turn our attention to the boys in the booth and talk a little bit about what we've seen so far, just in terms of the quality of the racing. I expected a bit more carnage, frankly.
I think, Dave, the wet track took care of that because the cars didn't have the grip. The contact was casual instead of carnage worthy. But Thursday they practiced and time trialed for starting spots in the heats. On Friday, the qualifying heats, 10 heats, only 2 qualified from each heat. That put 20 cars in the field. Then the B mains, 2 from each of those 5 races, 30 cars, and the field is filled tonight through promoters' options and the deal or no deal that we saw. So it's been a big buildup, and I've got to imagine that the pressure and the vice just keeps getting tighter as we get closer to the green flag, the big money, the big opportunity.
Guys, it's $250,000.
Exactly. That's the difference in those first 2 races in this race.
I raced for 25 years, and $86,000 was the most I ever won, and that's when I won a cup race at Talladega. $86,000, and they're racing for 3 times that.
Yeah, I just think you just love the fact that, and we heard David Ragan in the pre-race, you know, he said that he wanted to help some of his friends if he wins this $250,000. We talked to some guys this morning that want to pay their houses off, they want to pay their buildings off, and there's some guys said, you know what, if I win it, I'm going to ARCA racing full time next year. So a lot of different agendas for that $250,000.
So I'm putting together what I'm hearing right now, and I'm not going to quite call that a prediction, but perhaps an expectation. There may be a little more chaos and carnage in what we're about to see than in what we've seen so far.
Well, you do the math. The winner's purse is $250,000. A bumper costs $25.
I understand that. I understand that very well. We'll be ready to crank them up here momentarily and roll them off. And this is going to be 50 laps, then a 15-minute break, and then a 50-lap feature that pays $250,000. Take a look at the starting lineup, boys.
Doug Stevens has been fast here all weekend. Won his qualifying heat, was fastest in time trials. David Ragan was a heat winner. In fact, all the first 10 starters were qualifying heat winners.
You see back in row 3, Tyler Green. He was supposed to be in St. Louis spotting for Eric Almirola today in the truck race. He sent his dad up there instead.
That's Mark Green,
That's
his
right.
father. And a look through the rest of the heat winners back through row 5 and Evan Swilling. Darrell Wallace, a development driver for Revolution Racing.
Youngest driver ever to win in the K&N Pro Series East Division.
Yeah, just earlier this year.
And here are the qualifying heat runners-up from Friday and the drivers who transferred in from the B mains today. The youngest driver in the field, 12-year-old Kyle Weatherman from Missouri in the 06 car.
And the 08 of Greg Galding is going to join him.
Yes.
And he's also 12 years old. Is that correct?
Exactly. And then we got a couple of brothers in here. We got the Swilling brothers from Georgia, Justin Swilling in the 38 car.
Yeah, they're 14 and 17 years old, respectively.
Okay, this is a young field of drivers.
It really is. It really, really is. Yeah, Evan Swilling, his brothers in the 1 car is going to start 10th.
Now, promoters' option cars. Kenzie Ruston in the 39 is the only female driver in the field. She started 13th in her B main, raced all the way up to 3rd, and almost got there. She is the promoter's option choice, as is 60-year-old Jeff Bodine, the oldest driver in the field, former Daytona 500 winner. They are the adds to the field.
And Jeff told us in an interview earlier that his money, anything he wins, is going to Florida, to the Alzheimer's Association.
A great cause. And I would really want to keep an eye on Brian Sockwell, who was so good in the Masters Division race. Yep. Same racetrack, same night.
Lights are out on the pace car. They will run 50 laps and then take a halftime break. Caution laps will count during these 50 laps. For $1 million, it's on. Green flag.
And I just think these guys have a completely different characteristic of racetrack than anything they've had the past 2 days. Doug Stevens in that 77 car gets the lead going off into turn 3.
I think the track officials did a great job of getting this track as dry as they possibly could.
Dennis Lambert up for 2nd. David Ragan is 3rd. The 20th, Tyler Green is 4th. And Hemrick, Daniel Hemrick, the 21 in silver on the outside. Great start. Clean and green.
Yeah, I talked to Dennis Lambert in that 14 car this morning, the 148. I said, Dennis, what would you do after this race? He said, Larry, it's too expensive to race. I make my living working on these cars, not racing them. In fact, he's driving a customer's car.
He's driving the wheels off it right now.
Backing up through the field, the silver 112. Trouble for Sam McCauley. He's faded back half distance and going back further, stacking them up behind him there at turn 4. They're kind of piling up. But everybody's going to get by him.
Sam's in the motorsports program at UNCC. He says he's going to be a sophomore.
Turn 2. One car is around, and it looks like everybody gets by.
We stay green, no caution.
That was the 2 of Brady Boswell. 4 laps complete under green, and Stevens is putting on a clinic at the front of the field. Lambert in second, Reagan third, Tyler Green, Daniel Hemrick the top 5. Then Sean Rahal, who qualified 6th, running 6th. Darrell Wallace, Evan Swilling, Chad Fincham, Adam Burton are the top 10.
Tyler Green looks like he has a good car trying to get underneath the 6 of David Reagan. There's a little bit of a gap in front of David right now. He's losing touch a little bit with the 148 of Dennis Lambert.
Spinner at turn 2. That's the number 5 that goes around. And can he get it refired? Corey Abbott, yes he does. We stay green. Matt.
Mike, Tyler Green just took over the spot from David Reagan. He told me the big question mark coming into this race, due to the 100 laps, just how much the tires are going to give up, and you've got to be patient. You've got to take care of your equipment. He said he's learned from the best, his father and his uncles, of how to take care of your equipment. He says you're going to have to be patient here tonight.
You know, Phil, you talked about Tyler's supposed to be spotting for Eric Almirola. Tyler's dad, Mark Green, is racing in the Nationwide Series. The guy turning the wrenches on this car is Uncle Jeff, the 2000 Nationwide Series champion.
How about that? Talk about a family affair now. Sam McCauley out of the race. He's gone to the garage area. Jeff Bodine started 34th last. He has gained 8 positions, up to 26th. 9 laps complete, all under green. They'll go to 50 laps. That's the halftime break. The drivers will be allowed to make adjustments and change up to 2 tires.
On any corner, from what I understand. Not just right side tires, but any corner they may choose.
Right, you could change 2. At the front, Stevens, Lambert, Green. Here's Marty.
And earlier, Phil was talking about Dennis Lambert driving the wheels off the car in this 148. He was worried about the early part of this race, guys. In practice this morning, they got a few laps. He only got 5. They broke a seal in the rear end. They were spilling oil all over the track. So he made major changes chassis-wise. Also had to put a brand new rear end on this car. He told me before the race started, I honestly don't know what I'll have until about 10 laps into the race. Obviously, pretty strong horse, huh, guys?
Yes, he is. And we got a couple of cars off down in turn 3 and 4, but they make their way back on the track. We still stay green.
That's Jeff Bodine that spun in the number 9A and gets going once again.
Dennis Lambert has been able to get to the rear bumper of Doug Stevens' car. Gave him a shot a couple laps ago going in turn number 3.
Lambert says he has no firm racing plans after tonight.
We've got the conveyor belt of cars going here.
Doug Stevens leading Dennis Lambert, Tyler Green, Daniel Hemrick, and Sean Rahal with 13 laps complete. $14 laps on the board. $1 million purse, $250,000 to win, and Doug Stevens has led every one of those laps. But Stevens has a bumper full of Dennis Lambert down in turn number 1. Lambert, that's the white 77. Or excuse me, Stevens the white 77, Lambert the black 148. And they have distanced Tyler Green by about 6 car lengths.
Guys, we see people on every Tuesday night here in the Summer Shootout Series put a bumper to somebody for a trophy. Can you imagine what's going to happen when they get down towards the end? If that 148 of Dennis Lambert is on the rear bumper of that 77 of Doug Stevens for $250,000?
Probably put a whole new meaning to the bump and run.
Doug Stevens says if he wins this race, he'll use the money to pay off his race shop, where he prepares cars for quite a number of the hot shoes in this series. Marty.
And guys, I was talking to Doug Stevens about that, who he wanted behind him at the end of this race. And he told me actually David Reagan or Dennis Lambert. And his point about Dennis Lambert is both these guys work on these cars. They know what it takes to put a car together. They both have many customers, as you guys have mentioned. So he said, I know he'll take care of me. He may move me, but I know he won't wreck me that bad.
Doug Stevens may have a lot more customers if he keeps this up tonight.
Lapped car moves aside, and that was the number 2 getting up and out of the way, Brady Boswell, for the race leader. No hindrance. Here comes the second place car, Lambert, underneath Boswell. Change at third place. Daniel Hemrick in silver and red makes the move underneath Tyler Green. So Hemrick moves from 4th to 3rd. David Reagan, by the way, has slipped to 7th from second place starting spot and is having trouble holding on to that spot.
Yeah, Daniel Hemrick was the 2008-2009 National Pro Championship. But back to Dennis Lambert in that 148. You talked about him. We got a spinner off turn 2. He's out of harm's way at the bottom of the racetrack.
That'll be, I believe that's Weatherman, Kyle Weatherman, who has spun, can't get going. Will we see the yellow flag? Yes, yellow is out.
So we ran almost a fourth of this race caution free. We've completed 22 laps. Now cautions will count in this first 50 laps, not in the second 50. All green laps in that second 50.
12-year-old Kyle Weatherman from Missouri.
Just got loose off turn 2 as he made that transition from the asphalt to the concrete.
And that concrete is a lot rougher than the asphalt is as well.
You know, 22 laps go by in a hurry.
They sure
On a
do.
quarter mile they do.
Welcome back to the Legends Million, presented by Cabarrus County, where racing lives. We're under caution, first one of the night after 24 laps. Tomorrow, the Rolex Sports Car Series thunders into New Jersey to continue an explosive season of racing. Don't miss it, live 1 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, only on Speed.
John Fogerty, Alex Gurney on the pole for that race up in New Jersey.
Great series. I mean, the competition there is unbelievable.
Now, they have the cone up for lane choice at turn number 3. The third place car, Daniel Hemrick, elected to go to the outside and move up to the outside of the front row. Sean Rahal running 5th, moves up to the outside of row 2, and David Reagan moves up to the outside of row 3 for the restart. Fellas, what's up with Reagan?
Well, when you talk to David Reagan, he'll tell you that basically, look at the rules. The halftime break, you're allowed to change 2 tires. That's what they're expecting to do. And when you look at what this team has really done with this race car, it's not a brand spanking new race car, Mike. It's a chassis that his dad, Ken, actually sold back in 2001. David just got it back, retooled it, and it's looking pretty good here tonight.
Yeah, you normally don't wear these chassis out. You just use them up.
and that's the neat thing about this.
Yeah.
Is essentially the cars are the same as they built 12, 15 years ago.
We've got 31 cars still on the lead lap. Pace car off.
25 laps to go to halftime. Hemrick gets a great start on the outside. Daniel Hemrick trying to snatch the lead from Doug Stevens. Nobody's been able to do that. Not tonight.
Boy, look at the run at that 77 of Stevens. Got off turn 2 that time. Just rocketed down the back straightaway.
Lambert, the black car, 2nd. Hemrick, 3rd. Tyler Green, 4th. And the 76, young Darrell Wallace in 5th.
I talked to Darrell Wallace over here the other day, and he's really excited about this race. Obviously, a week off from his K&N Pro Series duties, and looking for a great run here.
16 years old, drives for Andy Santerre over at Revolution Racing in the K&N Series. Certainly a rising star. In fact, a lot of the names you see tonight are names you're going to hear in the very near future. One car straight off at turn number 2 and almost buys the wall coming off turn 2. He gets it righted and around again. I believe that was Adam Burton.
You know, Mike, you guys may have talked about it before, but the amazing statistic is, to me, is that 28 of our drivers in the Cup Nationwide and Truck Series got their start running Legends and or Bandolero cars.
You know, I've been watching Sean Rahal in that 14R car, the white car there. He restarted in about 6. He got hung on the outside and couldn't get down. He's fallen all the way out almost outside the top 10.
Adam Gay has spun at turn number 4, but he'll get it going again and come out in front of the leader. Another driver moving up well is the 19 of Chad Fincham. He's really been making the outside work and has climbed into the top 10 in 9th place.
Chad's 15 years old from Knoxville, Tennessee.
14, we saw Sean Rahal a little bit earlier. There's Evan Swilling, and there's Rahal at 14R, the white car. We saw him in the other division running a red and silver machine, same number.
Rahal has swellings on both sides of him, in front and behind.
Yeah, because both those boys up there right inside the top 10.
And there's Fincham in black and white, the number 19. He has really been throwing it into the corner hard on the outside to run now right behind Kyle Beatty up into the top 10.
We talked to Chad's mother this morning, Mike, who said that once he got so thick in the race and he had to quit, but he played in the middle school band until his racing just kind of overcome playing in the band.
You have to have your priorities.
Exactly.
15 to go next time by to halftime in the Legends Million.
I'm impressed with Doug Stevens in that 77 car, but I'm probably just as impressed with Dennis Lambert in that 148 because, Mike, you talked about doesn't have a lot of plans to race much after this. He's not been racing much himself the last year or two, just simply because of the cost.
Fourth place changes hands. Tyler Green's got his hands full of Darrell Wallace, turn 3. 3 cars under a blanket for that third spot. The 20 of Green running hard on the outside, but he's going to lose the spot to Wallace right there.
And you can see Stephen Cantrell in that yellow 28 car. He's trying to take advantage of it as well. He's going to try to fall Wallace. Now he's going to take that position away as he goes to the inside.
And here's Green pounding back on the inside. Wallace goes high. Green recovers.
Yeah, Wallace is going to almost looks like all but lose another spot to David Reagan in that 6 car.
A spin at turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, and turn 4. We got them off all around the racetrack, and caution is out. Don't ask me who the caution's for. It was simultaneous spins.
Spin 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Just every corner of the racetrack. Kenzie Ruston, the promoter's option. Did a great job in her heat in the rain. Came from 13th to 3rd and just came up short of a qualifying spot. She was the promoter's choice to join the field in 33rd position.
Yeah, she's 18 years old. This is only her 3rd year to be racing in the Legends.
A couple of cars go pit side as we have 12 laps to halftime. And the vice gets just a little tighter in the Legends Million at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Welcome back to the Legends Million. Doug Stevens has led it all the way, but under significant pressure from Hemrick and Lambert on occasion. That dust cloud you see out there is the racetrack. The race has been red flagged because of a huge oil down. I don't know that I've ever seen that much oil dry on a quarter-mile racetrack. As this is going on, it's bad news for Sean Rahal. He won the Young Guns race, the semi-pro race, had already qualified a different car for the Legends Million. Unfortunately, that car may be the reason for the oil down. Let's find out from Marty.
Indeed, it probably is, Dave. And the last time we talked to Sean, he had a big check. This time you're out of the Legends Million early. What happened?
Well, we had a leak in the heat race, and we thought we had it fixed. And just turns out about the 2nd lap, I saw it start smoking again, and I knew it was gone from there. But I tried to hold on to it for as long as I could. Then eventually it just fell off, and I was bringing so much oil down to the ground I couldn't hold on. I just want to thank Doug Stevens, though. He worked really hard to put me here, and he got me out there, and I hope he wins this race.
Yeah, I know who he's pulling for the rest of the race. Also back here, Harrison Rhodes has lost an engine as well. Matt.
Marty Gray Gauldin took the deal and advanced into the big money event, but you're back here in pit lane. What's wrong with the car, Gray?
Oh, well, right now, I think it's the carburetor. But like I said, me and you, I'm just so glad to be a part of this race. And like I said, I'd like to thank my sponsor, Gunbroker.com. And right now, Steve Irvin, I hope you're watching. And it just stinks it's got to happen like this. And I'm just going to go out there and do the best I can and just make the best out of it. And just being here, like I said, is really cool.
It was a motor issue, and this young man just continues to impress lap after lap. And they cannot work under the red flag, Dave, on these race cars. That's why you don't see any crew members around Gray's car at the moment.
What we have seen is an awful lot of work going on the racetrack as the crews, the track preparation people work to get it back in shape. They fought the rain. Now they're fighting the oil. And when they get that battle won, we'll come back with the race to halfway in the Legends Million.
Back under caution in Speed's presentation of the Legends Million, brought to you by Cabarrus County, where racing lives. The racetrack has a lot of speedy dry on it, but they're going to bring the cars out, run them a couple laps around under caution. We have 9 laps to go to the halftime break. So work can resume on the front bumper of Donnie St. Hour's cars and the brakes of Corey Abbott and Zach Hausler. That's why they are in the pits. There is repair underway. Marty.
And Mike, being a Bandolero dad, you know about this. You've got to pull the bumper away far enough to get to that bolt, which is right behind in the perfectly bad spot. But Donnie St. Hour's should be able to get out fairly quickly. These other guys with brake issues will probably be back here for a while.
Yeah, you can see where it's bent on the right front all the way almost against the tire right there. The good thing is these bumpers bend easy, so that's a little bit of a crush zone they have if they hit something.
But it's a safety rule. You're not allowed on track without one. So 2 bolts, off it goes, and a new one will go on. The wheelbase, nominally 73 inches. There's a little bit of tolerance on each side for setup. The cars are 5 feet wide, 10 feet 6 inches long. Air-cooled Yamaha engines. Initially, that was a little problematic because the front cylinders would run cooler than the back 2 cylinders that were shrouded by the hood. But they got that worked out. They put out a little over 130 horsepower. You have your choice of coupes and coaches, Dodges, Chevys, Plymouths, Fords, 10 different body styles. And for a base cost of $13,000, you can be racing.
And a very affordable base cost of $13,000 to get in and to have some competitive racing.
Yeah, honestly, if you come out here and keep your nose clean, it's not that expensive to run either the Legends or the Bandoleros.
We have 8 laps to go to halftime. And let's tell you what's coming up. At the halftime break, they'll be allowed to make adjustments on these cars in the 15-minute halftime. 2 people allowed over the wall to service the car. Any part not broken cannot be replaced. You can replace up to 2 tires, add or remove air, change bumpers, use a couple of fans to cool the car and the driver, adjust weight bias, tighten nuts and bolts, add tape to the body parts, add fuel once the driver climbs out of the car. That's for safety reasons. Adjust the suspension. You cannot move or install additional ballast or change fluids, though you may be able to, you may bleed the brakes.
Now we're coming to the green flag. Doug Stevens, of course, our leader, chose the inside. This time, Daniel Hemrick in that 21 car, he chose to stay behind Stevens on the inside as we'll get the green flag here with less than 10 laps to go.
And Mike, there's a tremendous amount of stage ride. Already crashed over in turn 3 on the warm-up lap.
Yep, cars trying to get in position for the restart. Now everybody slides through the oil dry. That's a lot cleaner start than I expected.
Where Doug Stevens is so strong is off the corner, especially turn 2.
He just gets a launch off that corner. Nobody can quite run with him there. We have a spinner off of turn 4.
The car's out of harm's way, but it can't restart. 5 to go. Caution.
Yeah, and what I saw there, I liked. And that's something that they teach these guys. He was waving both arms out each window, saying, I can't go. My car won't crank. It won't move.
He is just off the racing surface, but I think too close to leave him there.
That is the number 2, Brady Boswell. Had a bit of trouble.
Single file, drivers. D384, D384. Let's figure it out, drivers. Single file.
That's the receiver going to the drivers to get them to line up.
D3 behind 57, 84. Open a hole at D3 in.
And position everybody. Putting the D3 of David Moyes in just ahead of Kyle Beatty.
And I like the fact that the tower is in communication with each one of these drivers.
Yes.
Yeah, there's no other radio communication. There's no spotters. I think you've got a mirror, and then you've got the receiver that Race Control is talking to you. Matt.
Larry Mack, Tyler Green spots for Eric Almirola over in the Truck Series, and he told me that's a great advantage for the young kids coming up in this series. You don't have a spotter. That way it allows you to develop your racing skills. You don't have someone in your ear telling you how to race.
And something tells me if Tyler had someone in his ear, their last name would be Green.
Yeah, keep in mind, both of his uncles are past Busch Series champions. Now the Nationwide Series. His dad very successful in that series as well. Darrell swears it's the water up in Owensboro, Kentucky, that makes those green boys so good.
And a lot of drivers come out of Owensboro.
You bet.
But Tyler has been fast out here all week. 20 car.
His cousin, Austin, David's son, races in the Bandoleros. In fact, you'll find a lot of famous racing surnames among the young drivers. There's Jeff Green looking on.
Acting crew chief tonight, right?
Oh, he's been a busy guy running back and forth between their garage and the grid all weekend long here, Marty.
Yeah, I talked to Uncle Jeff before the race started, and he said, you know, I know how to do this stuff, so I'm not nervous about the car, but I'm just nervous because Mark's not here. It's Tyler's dad. He said, if Mark was here, I could take a step back, but everything is on my shoulders tonight, so I'm playing dad, crew chief, uncle, and everything all at the same time.
Thanks, Marty. Brady Boswell, the 13-year-old from Georgia, his car goes off on the hook, and it's lane choice time once again. Dennis Lambert from third place chooses the outside, and here comes David Reagan picking the outside lane. He will line up fourth next to Hemrick. Stephen Cantrell chooses the outside for sixth next to Tyler Green.
Yeah, it's almost a no-brainer for the race leader and the guy running in second, but from there it gets a little bit tricky on what you want to do, and I think the later in the race it gets, the more you're going to want to be as close to the front as you possibly can.
If you can gain a couple spots by going to the outside, you never know if somebody underneath you is going to spin the tires a little bit, get a little bit sideways, and you get that hole in front of them. You can gain a couple spots really quick.
Nice drive for 33, Nick Carey. He has come up to 7th place. In qualifying, he was 71st, but finished second in his heat race to make the main, and he's had a good drive here tonight so far.
Started back in the 20th position in this event.
See if that red 33 starting inside of row 4 can move up in this final one-lap dash to halfway. This will be lap 49. Green flag. They should see the checker after they come through next time.
Watch that launch off the corner.
Just like every single restart, Daniel Hemrick gets a launch. There goes Tyler Green in the 20 to the inside.
Lambert's in trouble. He's going to fall out of the top dozen way on the outside.
Tell you what, David Reagan in that 6 car, he's come to life on the high side.
Side by side for third with Tyler Green.
Big spin down in turn 1. Caution's out. 4 cars are in it. But we've already completed the 50th lap, and Nick Carey got another 2 spots.
I was going to say, he has cracked the top 5 in that 33 car.
So let's see, Adam Gay is one of the cars that has spun back there. So is the 14 of John Sossaman from North Carolina.
See some damage to the right front wheel on John Sossaman's car.
Kyle Weatherman is the other car involved down there in turn 1. That dark brown colored car.
Is that Chad Fincham in the 19 car, the green and white car?
No, Adam Gay.
Adam Gay.
So it's halftime. Let's show you what happened here as they came through after the conclusion of lap 50. When the 9 went around, and that kind of bottled things up, didn't it?
I think everybody else was taking some evasive action.
Yep.
Somebody slowed, and then a little bit of a chain reaction situation.
Yeah, it was the 9 of Chris Dilbeck that spun, but that was after the 50th lap had been scored. So we're 50 laps away from awarding one Legends driver $250,000. You're watching the Legends Million, brought to you by Cabarrus County, where racing lives.
Welcome back. They're cleaning up a post-checkered flag crash at the halfway point. I guess that's technically a yellow flag. At the halfway point of this $1 million purse race, which saw Doug Stevens take the lead from the start. He has not officially surrendered it at start finish. He's been threatened a couple of times. We met young Kyle Weatherman at the top of the show, the guy who's not quite as tall as Marty. He spun out. This is Sean Rahal, who won the Young Guns race in a different car, but that one done blowed up and put all oil all over the racetrack. After a brief break, the restart saw Doug Stevens hang on to his advantage. Daniel Hemrick is now second. We'll get to the reason why. David Reagan, Tyler Green, and Nick Carey, who has come through this field to fifth. Missing from that group is Dennis Lambert, second or third the entire first half until what, Marty?
Well, Dave, a flurry of activity around his car. What happened? He dropped a couple of cylinders right as the caution flag came out. They're going to change the ignition boxes on the 148, trying to get it to run back to full song. What he's going to campaign for is to somehow get a spot back. He felt like lap 50 came before the ignition went out on his car. So they're going to try and fix this and then do a little campaigning after that, Matt.
And Marty, a lot of activity going on here on the 6 car, the UPS and Palm Beach Grading. It's kind of old school, some of the sponsors on this car. So what adjustments, David, are you going to make to this car after learning the first 50 laps?
Well, there's still a lot of water and mud and a lot of stuff on the bottom lane, so it's just a matter of hitting that corner just right so the next guy wouldn't get under you. But, you know, our UPS Ford is It's okay. I mean, I think the 77 certainly has the class of the field, but we're changing right side tires right now, so I don't know what that's going to do, but you know, I'm having a lot of fun these next 50 laps. We'll just try to get to the top, you know, 2 or 3 and, you know, see what happens. But so far, a lot of fun, and everybody's pretty excited down here in the pits.
A lot of excitement down here. So are these, A, your best tires, and B, are you concerned at all about brakes? We've seen some people have brake issues.
Yeah, we started with our worst set, so we're putting the ones on that we qualified with, which we think's a little better. Man, my cousin Brett Reagan is up in St. Louis tonight working on Carl Edwards' car, and I need him here to help me decide what to do. But we'll make a little pressure adjustment. I think the brakes are pretty cool, and you know, see what happens. But Doug Stevens is a man. He's getting after it. We'll have to catch him.
All right, the 6 car third here at the halftime break. Dave?
I think he summed that up pretty well. Doug Stevens has been the man thus far. Several people have taken shots at him, but I suspect the ferocity of those shots may increase during the course of the remaining 50 laps, which will determine that $250,000 payoff. It's been an impressive evening of racing, a great demonstration of the capability of these little cars and of the variety of people who drive them, from young kids just getting started in their racing careers to guys who think of this as their golf game, the hobby racers, if you will. And the team have created a great opportunity here to mix the young and the old together. Let's go to Marty and hear from the pole sitter.
Well, when you work on 8 cars at the racetrack and you lead the race, you still have to put the fuel in, Dave. You got to do all the work down here. Doug, how was the car in the first run there?
The car was pretty good. I was kind of just riding, trying to save my brakes. I don't think I'm going to make any changes. I'm going to leave my same tires on and hope it's the right decision for them.
Yeah, why the decision to leave the same tires on? Because you and I talked earlier today. You said you had a set to put on the right side.
Well, these tires feel really good, and they're not really even getting hot. So, you know, with all the cautions and everything, it's giving everything time to cool down. So, I mean, the car's really good. Like I said, I'm just riding, keeping that distance, and trying not to push any harder than I have to. And hopefully they're not sandbagging too, and I'll have something for them to race.
You weren't sandbagging, were you?
Well, no, I wouldn't say that. I was just being careful, trying to save everything.
All right, and for those who aren't familiar with the series racing, different than NASCAR, actually the tires, the longer they run, the better they get. The sweet spot, it seems, for these tires, when they run about 40 to 80 laps. You get that many laps on the set of tires, that's when they're really good. Matt?
Marty, what a drive for Nick Carey. Drove 60 hours from the West Coast to get here to race, and he drove from 20th all the way up to 5th in the first 50 laps. So, any adjustments, or are you going to leave it the way it is?
I'm just going to leave the car the way it is. You know, the thing is really rolling the center really good. It's just, it's tough. You know, when everyone's bumper to bumper, it's tough to roll the centers. But, you know, now we're up front and everyone's a little faster, so I think we're going to run up front. I mean, I came from 20th to 5th, and, I mean, I think I got the car to win it, so I think it's awesome.
He may definitely have that car to beat the way he rocketed through the field. Dave?
Passing people is what it's all about, passing the guy at the front of the lineup. That's going to be the challenging part. And so my question to the booth, given what you've seen here, given the competition, given the challengers, given the problems for some of the challengers, and given the choose lane option, can anybody beat Doug Stevens?
Well, I tell you, I like Nick Carey. I mean, to drive from 20th to 5th in 50 laps without the aid of a lot of cautions, I think we only had a couple of cautions or 3 maybe where he could use that choose. I like him, but I love feel-good stories. And when I look at Doug Stevens, Mike and I talked to Doug this morning, Phil, and I mean, the guy told us he's got so many cars here he's working on for customers, he's barely had time to even work on his race car, and he was injured severely in an ASA late model crash at Kentucky Motor Speedway back in 2005. He was down and out for a long, long time.
You know what's scary is he said he's really holding back a little bit. He's just taking his time, taking it easy. So, but we know he's got some great competitors behind him. Tyler Green, we know he wins a lot of races. David Reagan, a Sprint Cup star, so he's got a lot of talent behind him, as well as that 33 car, who I really want to keep my eye on, because he came from 20th to 5th. While we were watching Doug Stevens, what he was doing up front, this guy made some serious moves and passed a lot of cars.
Well, a couple things come into play here. This Federal brand tire, it's a new brand to America. It's an imported tire. It's now the official tire of this series. Most of these drivers don't have a lot of experience with it yet. It's new this year, especially in a race of this distance. What will it do over 100 laps and 2 big heat cycles here? We'll have to find that out. I'm going to look for a fellow to go to victory lane who has filled his car with fuel, because in this second half of the race, only the green flag laps count. We could be here a while running laps, burning down fuel before we finally get to the checkered flag here tonight. So I like seeing that can tipped, that fuel cell topped off, because we could be here a while. Marty?
And Tyler Green topped off with fuel. And I've got to ask you, first of all, let's do the first segment. How was the car there?
It wasn't bad. We were a little tight in the center, which made us free off. These things get free off easy when you're tight in the center. So we put new tires on the right side, freed it up a little bit, and we should be good for the rest of it.
So you decided to put tires on the right side. When we talked before the race, you were not going to do that. Why the change?
We felt like we were just as good. Maybe they were a little bit better than us, so we got to put two new tires on it because we ain't going to win how it was.
All right, one of the interesting things to watch, guys, who changed tires and who didn't. Tyler Green did. Matt?
Marty, when you look at the Legends Series, the one word that always stands out, family, Justin and Evan Swilling running 8th and 9th so far in the feature. So have you and your brother talked about teammate and brother-to-brother strategy?
Well, we were just right behind each other actually pretty much the whole run, and he was a little bit faster than I was. I kind of felt bad. I was slowing him down a little bit, but we should be good. We should be fine. The car was good, just a little bit tight. Track's not worth anything anymore since they oiled it down, but we should be good.
What adjustments?
We just loosened it up a quarter and quarter on cross, and we should be good this time. We'll see what we got.
All right, let's keep an eye on the Swilling brothers. Dave?
We'll head for a commercial break with a look at the top 10. A quick word about Nick Carey. He wanted to thank Chad and Jimmy for helping him with that 60,000-mile drive, but not that, Chad.
Big money. It's a racer magnet. $1 million for a Legends car race. Only one guy I know could come up with that idea. For a prize like this, they've come from all over. The rich and the poor, the wicked fast and the wishful thinkers, fathers and sons, male and female. From hobby racers to stars of the future, school kids to geriatrics, everybody wants a shot at $1 million. Just imagine what they'll do to win.
And now that big prize, $250,000, is just 50 green flag laps away. For one of these drivers and crews, those who've done the best job of sorting their car out during the 15-minute halftime break. The big field that came here narrowed down to the final 34. And now from those 34, we'll find out who's going to be the best and who's going to cash the big check. Let's go back up top.
You got to wonder if Doug Stevens out of Georgia has played his cards. And we know he's got a full tank of fuel, checked over his tires. Can he lead these next 50 laps and bank $250,000?
You know, everybody's played nice so far, too. We haven't seen a whole lot of shoving people out of the way. But now we're going to get down to it now with $250,000 on the line for first.
Well, look right here, because if you're going to do anything with Stevens, the first thing you're going to have to do is catch him and get to that rear bumper.
Yes, sir.
Back to the pits and Marty.
Guys, a really intense atmosphere down here. Dennis Lambert, some last-minute changes, trying to get this car back up to full song engine-wise. Looks like they're going to run out of time. They have not been able to figure out the ignition box. Daniel Emmerich leading, ran second in that first segment. Brand new right-side tires. Told me he felt the car was perfect. Just not sure if he can get around Stevens or not. Fun down here, guys. A lot of energy as they get these cars ready for the second segment.
There's Emmerich in that Racing Electronics car.
You know, we've got 19 cars on the lead lap. We've got 50 green laps of racing. I think we've well documented this thing pays $250,000 to win, pays $10,000 to start. But how about $100,000 for second? Then it drops to $50,000 for third. You go all the way back to 10th, $11,000. We might see beating and banging for the lead. We may see a lot of beating and banging for those positions right there.
You're looking between 5th and 6th, $5,000. I mean, that's almost half the price of one of these cars, the difference between one finishing position.
There is the breakdown of the purse. It kind of drifts back 100 at a time from 12th back to 30th, but every one of the 34 drivers in this race goes home with at least $10,000. So many great stories and not enough time to tell them all. Teams here from New Hampshire and Connecticut to Washington, California from the Netherlands. The Connecticut contingent, Jason Palmer, wanted to race here. His dad, Jegs, a big champion up there, got together with Frank Manafort and say, come on, we're going down. Well, we got this old car. No, we need a new car. Dick Doyle, who owned race cars for his son Denny up in Connecticut, we'll buy you a car. Manafort says, we'll get you down here. They're all down here trying to make the show, having a great time. Not everybody made the race, but I think all of the 300 Legends car drivers that have been here to try their hand at fame and fortune are going to go home saying, wow, what a great experience.
I love what you said this morning at the drivers meeting, and I hope I don't get it wrong. You said that this is not a big show because speed is here. Speed is here because this is a big show.
Exactly. Kenzie Ruston getting ready to restart. We have some interesting nicknames among these drivers. We saw a tater, we got a toaster and a goat, a missile and a last lap and a blazing, among others. I think the average age of this field is under 20. Again, the range, as we said, from age 12 to age 60. Boy, that is still a last-minute thrash on Dennis Lambert's car.
He got a good race car. I mean, he showed that for about 48 and a half of those 50 laps. So evidently, they think this is not something internally in the engine, that it's something electrically related to the engine.
Yeah, and hoping it for his case, that is a situation down there, Marty.
Yeah, Phil, they think it's electrical. They tried the ignition box. He's trying the starters here on top, just trying to do anything electrically they can. He said it just when it cranks up, he knows it's down a cylinder. So he thinks it's electrical, not anything internal in the engine. But again, running out of time, frantically trying to get this car fixed.
50 green flag laps to go. And one of these drivers will be $250,000 richer. And there are not many Saturday nights in America you can say that.
There's not many Saturday nights in America where you can win $10,000, much less that $250,000 to win this thing.
In fact, there aren't all that many Sundays when we can come on the air and say that.
No, sir.
The last place car here is going to get $10,000.
Right.
That's a pretty good purse for one of these races here. Not to mention the $250,000 we're talking about.
That's true. We talked to a lot of these young drivers this morning. Some would use the money to further their racing career. Some would use the money to pay for college. Some would let their folks decide. And one kid wanted to buy his dad a new Camaro.
Yeah. Grandfather, what was that?
Grandfather?
Yeah, it was his grandfather.
Marty?
Hey guys, real quick, Dennis just looked at me and said it's not going to happen. So they're going to push this car to the truck. It does not look like Dennis Lambert will be back in, and it's starting to sprinkle down here as well, guys. So let's just add a little something else to the mix. Why not, right?
19 cars are on the lead lap. Make that 18 if Lambert does not answer the bell. Then Kyle Beatty would be the last car on the lead lap in 18th position.
Now the choose sign is already out, so when we come back around, we're going to get the one to go now. Looks like David Reagan in that 6 immediately went to the outside of Doug Stevens in that 77.
I'd like to see what David can do with those two right side tires up off of turn number 2. We saw how good Doug Stevens was off of turn number 2 each and every restart. We know that he left the tires on that car.
That puts Nick Carey in that 33 car. He decided to go behind David Reagan in the 6 car on the outside of the second row.
There's that 33 of Nick Carey set to go.
Yeah, Nick would have lined up in the 7th position. He would have been inside row number 4 had he have taken the inside, because they piled up on him on the inside.
They will come around to the attention of Glenn Jarman. He has been the starter for the Legends Series at Charlotte for now 19 years since this class began, and has been so looking forward to this night. Chance to wave the checker over some driver who's going to get $250,000. Here we go for 50 laps.
Boy, they were stacking up big time coming to the green through 3 and 4, but Doug Stevens picks up right where he left off. David Reagan in the 6, he gets knocked to the outside from Hemrick in the 21.
Hemrick and Green on the inside, then the 28 of the yellow car, and the 76 of Darrell Wallace. That's the inside lane And that's the lane that's moving. 33, Nick Carey got caught out. He's going to lose a few spots, and he gets shoved aside in turn 2.
Boy, I mean, they just chewed him up and spit him out. He's going to fall all the way outside the top 10 with that 33.
This may be when the nice guy kind of goes away here.
Yep. No more Mr. Nice Guy.
It looks like that outside groove can do good into the center, Larry, but they just can't get off the corner with the guys on the inside.
Well, watch third place, number 6, David Reagan. He's on that outside. He's got those fresh right side tires, but he just can't hang with Tyler Green, and he drops to 4th.
And Stephen Cantrell in that yellow 28, he's going to try to take advantage of David Reagan as well. We've got one car sitting on the inside of 1 and 2. Caution's out.
Spinner, spinner, chicken dinner. Donnie St. Hours goes around.
And Donnie is actually 2 laps down in this 16 car right now. Again, cautions will not count in this 50 laps. It's all green flag laps.
The track's under yellow, and so are we. We'll be back to the Legends Million. Brought to you by Cabarrus County, where racing lives. Doug Stevens from Georgia has been untouchable, uncatchable, unstoppable. 33 years old, headed for maybe the biggest payday of his racing life. But he has to battle Tyler Green now on the outside for this restart with 47 laps to go. Daniel Hemrick inside of Stephen Cantrell. Then it's David Reagan, Darrell Wallace. Here we go. Green flag.
I think David Reagan had all the fun he could stand on the outside. He said, let me have a little bit of that inside action.
Green's going to get a good run up off the corner. He is dead even with the leader. Green and Stevens into turn 3.
That's as good as I've seen anybody tonight stay with that 77 car on a restart.
And he's still got a wheel up beside him.
New tires for Green. Stevens did not change, and Hemrick is right there. 4 cars under a blanket.
Yeah, Hemrick says, I'm not going to let Tyler Green in that 20 car down. We're going to keep him on the outside.
But I love the philosophy that Tyler Green and his bunch have. We have to change new tires because we can't win the way we are.
On the inside, here comes Cantrell in that yellow 28 for 3rd. And he's going to sweep up Green. Boy, inside, Hemrick had a look at the lead. Just a snip of it going into turn 3.
That may be the first time we've seen anybody look inside that leader.
I tell you what, that one car of Evan Swilling, he has cracked the top 5. He just moved into the 4th spot. There you see him, the black car with the red 1.
Made a nice move to get past Tyler Green. Marty.
And Mike, what a run for Daniel Hemrick it's been, and it's been a struggle of a year. Last year, this kid won 7 of 11 races here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and honestly, in 2010, he struggled, but the last 2 weeks here in the Summer Shootout, he's been experimenting for this race. He said he went back to an old setup, and it might just work. He's trying to get that lead in, you guys.
I tell you what, he is all over the back of that 77 car, getting into the corner, right to the middle, right there. Stevens is still pretty good off turn 4, but here comes Hemrick to the inside.
Again, he has just a look, just a whiff of the lead, going off into the corner. Can't do anything with it. Carnage, turn 1. Fenders flail, cars spin. Well, everybody keeps going.
Looks like, yeah, it looks like everything is off the racetrack.
I like that, self-cleaning racetrack.
I'll tell you, that Hemrick is on it right now, right up against the rear bumper of Doug Stevens.
The only place Stevens seems a little better, just like we've seen all night, is the exit of turn 2.
In 3rd, Stephen Cantrell started the night in 14th spot. He's one of the biggest movers. 39 to go here.
And if we stay green, it won't be that long before our leaders start catching the back end of the pack. 18 cars on the lead lap.
With so much at stake, the racing is a lot cleaner than I thought we'd see tonight. These fellows they're racing hard, but they're playing fair. There's just not a lot of incidental contact. Here's Matt.
And Mike, this 14-year-old Evan Swilling in the 1 car continues to impress. Coming into tonight's race, his biggest racing accomplishment he told me was winning 2 years in a row at the famous and legendary Bowman Gray Stadium. The biggest purse he's ever won, $500. Tonight could be a career-making night and just help this young man continue his racing endeavors.
I love what he said on the papers that we were given. He said his biggest influence on his racing career, Brad Keselowski. He'll do whatever it takes to win, and he's not out here to make friends.
Leaders coming up to lap Jeff Bodine, who moves well aside for Stevens, Hemrick, Cantrell, and the one of Swilling. Green has faded to 5th, Darrell Wallace in 6th, and David Reagan 7th. Those 7 cars have distanced the field by about a second and a half.
Tell you what, Hemrick got a good run off turn 4. He took a look to the inside, but Stevens shut the door getting off in the corner. Hemrick is a little better off 4. Stevens is a little better off 2.
And Jeff Bodine, the Daytona 500 winner, has taken his car to the garage. Looks like he's done for the night with 33 laps to go.
Peeks to the inside, up off of 2.
If he can ever take just a little bit of that inside, I think he can get by.
Hemrick, one of the hometown heroes, 19 years old. It's pretty much been a Georgia versus North Carolina kind of night here.
I'm telling you, it looks like right now Hemrick, Larry, has the better car.
You know, we were talking during commercial break, Phil, that Doug Stevens did not change right side tires. You and I didn't disagree with that, but you're almost wondering, is that the difference right now?
Well, as Marty told us earlier, you know, these tires need some seasoning and some heat cycling. Marty said they're best in that 40 to 80 lap range. And that's right where we are right now.
And that's another one of the things that makes this series so affordable, is the fact you don't have to buy new tires each and every week.
Well, Daniel Hemrick now has 30 laps to get it done. 30 to go.
18-year-old Stephen Cantrell, who works as a mechanic on these Legends cars, holding a solid 3rd and holding off Evan Swilling and Wallace.
Boy, Hemrick got into trouble that time through 1 and 2.
Yep.
We got a spinner, but he's back out on the racetrack. Hemrick almost lost the 2nd and 3rd spot, but he falls back in line. And we're under caution.
John Sossaman spun, and they'll take the opportunity to reset the field here.
Looked like he made a little contact with our leader, Doug Stevens, right down in the middle of 1 and 2, and then just lost all his momentum.
He was very lucky they had enough gap on the 3rd place car. He was able to get back in there behind Stevens.
There's Sossaman, the bumper askew. Now it has to be attached, and it looks like that one is, so he may be able to continue, minus the hood and never mind the grill, of course.
Few things almost unattached.
The fenders went where? Away. There they are.
Yeah, they're laying down on the outside of turn 1 and 2.
29 laps to glory.
You know what's interesting about this little quarter-mile track is they use, you know, part of the front straightaway of the 1.5 miles, and then they go through the infield and go backwards down pit road. That's pretty much the backstretch of this quarter-mile.
And the real conundrum is whether you go down there on the asphalt or on the concrete, or perhaps do a straddle. That seems to work well. Marty Snyder.
And Jeff Bodine is back here in the hot pits, as you mentioned, Mike. What happened, Jeff?
It's hot. Yeah, it's hot. The rear brakes are locked up for some reason. Yeah, I got ran into several times out there, went into grass, and I don't know what happened, but we're trying to figure it out. But we're out.
All right, they are done for the night. Rear brakes are locked up. Jeffrey Bodine.
Look at all the folks that helped out on that effort, covering his car and his fire suit for a race to remember.
Cool,
all money raised going to Alzheimer's research and treatment.
Gold medal winner, Night Train.
And don't forget the Night Train, the Olympic-winning bobsled that was part of the Bodine project.
But he'll definitely win in excess of $10,000 for the Alzheimer's Society.
And donate it all. Now, here's what happens here with Stevens and Hemrick.
Hemrick's going to make contact right here in the center of the corner, and then he just didn't go. Like he lost his momentum. You could see the car just never accelerate.
You saw those brakes lock up as he went into the corner. And boy, that really allowed Stevens to gap him.
Yeah, very fortunate he didn't lose 2nd position. to Stephen Cantrell.
So it's not just can you catch the leader, it's where you catch him, and then what do you do when you get there?
Can you
kind of like the dog that caught the mailman. Now what do I do? Next Friday, the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series is at ORP in Indy, and we're there for the door-to-door paint trading excitement. Don't miss it, live from Indianapolis next Friday, 7:30 Eastern only on Speed. Always a good show.
Always. At the top of the racetrack is the groove, and they fight for that space up there.
And the lights will be working on Friday night.
They will be working Friday night. And the sparks will be, too.
1 lap to green with 29 laps to go. Marty?
Well, Mike, we're seeing a lot of cars now kind of hit by the hot pits back here with some problems, and this is what Doug Stevens was talking to me about. He has spent most of this year working on not only setup but reliability of his car. 100 laps, very long race for a Legends car, and this is the concern right now, this part of the race, from 70 laps to the end. If your car stays together mechanically, putting it under this stress, and Doug said this is what he worked on, so we'll have to watch that for some of these leaders. Can they make it to the end mechanically, and also can they get past that 77?
All good questions. Darrell Wallace has made some nice moves. He's up to 5th place on this caution flag. He's going to elect the inside. He'll be at row number 4. And now it's that yellow 28 of Cantrell that will try to take the lead from Stevens. We're back under green.
Yeah, that seems to be the pattern. Whoever's running 3rd when the caution comes out, they elect to go to the outside of the front row for the restart.
How's that worked out? Well, not so well. Here comes Hemrick back on the inside, trying to retake 2nd. Tyler Green in the 20 behind him. Evan Swilling in the number 1 against David Reagan in the 6.
Yeah, David Reagan in the 6 car making a little bit of noise on the high side.
There's Darrell Wallace Jr., I believe, the 76 car, trying to peek inside of him.
Couldn't gain any ground there.
Now, Doug Stevens in the 77 car on this restart has actually put a little bit of a gap back to that 21 car of Daniel Hemrick.
That's about the biggest lead anybody tonight. Dust up, turn 2, 1 around, 2 around, and no other contact. Freeman gets away. John Freeman's able to drive away from that one, but 1 car is stalled in the 2nd corner, and finally the 38 pulls away. That is Justin Swilling.
Yeah, we stay green as we now have 25 laps to go when they get back to the line. He just couldn't turn off turn 4. Here's what happened down in 1 and 2.
A little bit of a chain reaction down there, Larry.
Yeah, and he went around the racetrack 3 and 4. Something was broke, and now that's brought the caution out because he hit the wall hard right here on the exit of turn 4.
The first car to spin was the 57 of John Freeman. Now they'll sort things out here at the exit of turn number 4. Boy, up and down for the Swillings. Justin in the fence here pretty hard. Let's show you how that happened.
Yeah, I watched him go through 3 and 4, and the car just went straight.
Oof.
Pretty significant contact with a safer barrier.
Exactly. Good news is safer barrier along the front stretch wall here at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Justin out of the car and likely out of the race, but he is okay.
Now his brother Evan in the 1 car is up in the 5th position right now.
Note the Hans device. They are required for the Bandoleros and the Legends racers, and to me a Hans device or a head and neck restraint is kind of like hockey players and helmets. If you start a kid out wearing them, he'll never want to get in that car without one. That's a great thing.
Every one of the 350 or 400 cars we had here between the Bandoleros and the Legend cars, every one of those drivers had a head and neck restraint system on.
And if you're a short track racer, I don't care if it's required or not. Don't get in your race car without some type of head and neck restraint device.
He can take it off now, though. I mean,
yeah, now he can.
Yeah, he can take it off.
See the G-Force safety crew at work here. They supply a lot of the belts and harnesses for the cars as they come out of the factory, and a lot of the driver safety gear that's used in this series. They're a strong supporter, as is Race Seaver.
And the way these cars are designed with the roll cage and the roof, you can see how they pick these cars up. They don't do any damage to them, you know, after you've hit the wall. But they've really got a great system in getting these cars off the racetrack without doing more damage to them.
It's a very sophisticated kind of forklift. It does look a lot like what they do in Formula One to extract the cars from the racetrack.
Yeah, I tell you, they put on such a great show here in the Summer Shootout Series. I
love it.
If people in the Charlotte area are going to be visiting Charlotte and you don't have anything to do on a Tuesday night, make it a point to come out here and watch all the action.
Heck, here on Tuesday night, Atlanta Motor Speedway on Thursday night. I mean, these cars are racing in almost all 50 states and including in Europe.
Well, and then on the weekend, you can go run Concord Speedway, and you can go run up at Andy Hillenberg's at Little Rock at Rockingham. So there's a lot of opportunities. There's the choose cone at work again, and once again, Cantrell chooses the outside, and now the number 1 of Evan Swilling is going to try it. He will line up 4th with Reagan 5th. And from way back in 11th, Nick Carey goes to the outside. He will restart 8th.
He took advantage of most everybody up in the top 10 choosing the inside line.
26 laps to destiny.
Keep up with the whole pack. Keep up with the whole pack, 148.
Now remember 148, that's the car that had the ignition trouble, Dennis Lambert, early on. He's got his car running well enough to try to troubleshoot it. Officially, he's only scored 2 laps down, but that's back in 22nd place after a great run in the first half.
But I think he's doing exactly what you just said. He's trying to see if the problem is rectified.
Better to do it right now than come out here next week and find out he still has a problem.
He don't want to cause any problem. He don't want to get into a problem with his 148 car.
On the inside, Stevens, Hemrick, Green, and Wallace. On the outside, Cantrell, Swilling, Reagan, and Carey. Here we go.
Boy, that one car of Evan Swilling, he found him a hole on the bottom, and he took advantage of it. Tyler Green about drove through the grass in the 20 car, but he's going to lose a spot.
He's going to drop to 6th with Reagan coming up the outside. Crash, turn 3. 3 cars in it. Noyes, Jake Crum, and one other car piled up in turn 3, and no motion there. We'll get a caution.
Yeah, they try to see if these cars will get moving or not, but once they get close within about a straightaway, they'll go ahead and throw the caution.
The other car involved was Kyle Plott, the 14-year-old from Georgia, in the number 4. Here's a look at it from mid-pack.
Left of your screen looked like the 1C, Jake Crum, and the 4 got together a little bit. The 1C may have had a little help from behind. Jake Crum, a lot of experience. He won that big late model race that Martinsville has, the 300 lapper that Martinsville has every year.
Oh, he just drilled the 9 going in the corner. Crum did.
Yeah, the entrance speed was way too great.
Ouch. We're back under caution with 25 to go. Our 25 laps to go. It's Stevens and Hemrick on the inside. Cantrell with the 1 of Swilling on the outside.
Boy, Cantrell just drove it down in 1 and 2. Paid the price on exit. Here comes Hemrick in that 21 car. I believe the rubber band is tightening up. Less than 25 to go.
Oh, 3 wide back for 3rd.
Yeah, Cantrell got caught up high. It's David Reagan in the middle. And you can tell the laps are winding down because they're taking bigger and bigger chances.
How about Nick Carey now in the 33 all the way up in a battle for 3rd?
Yeah, Cantrell, though, got a great run off turn 2 in that 28. He'll fall to the bottom. He takes the 3rd spot. Here comes Carey back.
Tyler Green fell all the way to 10th on that exchange. Hemrick still holding close on the leader. Cantrell trying to hold off Carey. Darrell Wallace in 5th. Reagan in 6th. Justin Lloyd in 7th.
Oh, trouble.
You could see that one coming. I mean, they were just stacking up. And I believe that's the 1 car, Evan Swilling, and the caution is out.
Chad Fincham has spun at turn 4.
Yeah, we've got a piece of body part laying right in the middle of turn 3 and 4.
Evan lost all his track position with that spin there in turn 4.
Scoring will sort him out as to where he finds his place in line.
You just have a little less room now as these laps wind out. People are using that little extra few inches that they were giving the other guy before.
I mean, you can see them just stacking up here, just one after the other, and there was just nowhere for anybody to go.
The give part of give and take is over.
The take part is
oh yeah,
well in evidence right here.
Wide open. Three laps go on the board, so we're at lap 78.
Just a chain reaction when they get slowed down, when they get to the center of the corner, and the guy behind them, you know, everyone hits the one just a little bit harder till somebody finally gets nailed, nerfed, and around he goes.
Nobody wants to give that bottom up, no matter how much you have to slow it down. So that was 2 of the favorites, the Swilling brothers coming in here. His brother Justin, of course, had his problems. He's 4 laps down, and now Evan has his problem. We have 16 cars on the lead lap with 22 laps to go.
Doug Stevens still our leader. Daniel Hemrick second. Stephen Cantrell, that yellow number 28, is third. Nick Carey, the red 33, is fourth. Darrell Wallace in the 76 is fifth. David Reagan in the 6 is sixth. Seventh, Justin Lloyd in the 15, and the rest of the top 10 are Chris Dilbeck, Tyler Green, and Travis Braden.
Tell you what, that Justin Lloyd started back in the 28th position.
Wow, good run. Well, we're inching up on the 100 laps to complete the distance for the Legends Million. 22 to go. Cantrell in the 28 again chooses the outside along with Reagan and Justin Lloyd and Tyler Green and Travis Braden as we get set for the restart with Stevens the leader, Hemrick behind him, 33 Carey, and 76 Wallace. Here we go.
Stevens has been so flawless on these restarts. You wonder if he has any chink in his armor whatsoever, and it doesn't appear as though he does.
Tell you what, Nick Carey in that 33 opened the door. We got spinners down here in 1 and 2 again. Looks like everybody's going. And David Reagan in that 6 car, he's up there fighting for the 3rd spot with Cantrell now.
Now Reagan dropped right to the inside on the restart. Turn 4, another spinner. Around goes Wallace. Darrell Wallace loses about 12 spots there, but we stay green. 21 to go.
I guarantee you, all of these cars, I think they've got a bullseye on the back now as we get to 20 laps to go.
Well, this has split the field in half. It's now a 10-car breakaway after this.
That was Kyle Beatty in the Brown 84 car, but as you can see, he just spun around and kept going.
And now it's a little more orderly at the front. 10-car breakaway.
I'll tell you, space is at a premium, though, when these guys are running in that pack from about 4th or 5th on back there, bumper to bumper.
Tyler Green in the 20 works to the inside of the 33 car. Nick Carey trying to bring 3 cars with him.
Tyler gets that spot. Nick is going to be able to get over in front.
Yeah, good pass by Tyler Green. Carey didn't give much up front straight away. Around goes the 2. Brady Boswell.
We stay green. He keeps going.
Yeah, grabs a gear and goes. 16 laps to go.
Phil, it's almost like Daniel Hemrick, right after the halftime break, was able to make a little bit of a run, but once we got into this 50 laps, he can't quite get there now.
It looks like maybe he used his stuff up a little bit if you can't overheat these tires, but he's able to stay right with Doug Stevens.
Yeah, he's not giving anything up to the rest of the field.
And I would say if we stay green, as we'll be coming to 15 laps to go, we will be catching some lap traffic at the back of the field.
They're about 10 car lengths behind Darrell Wallace Jr., who ran up in the top 5 just a few moments ago and got turned around.
Yep. Goes way wide, gives the leaders room. Wallace had a good race going until about 4 laps ago. So it's now a 9-car train for the front spot. Stevens, Hemrick, Cantrell, Reagan, Green, and Carey, Lloyd, Dilbeck, and Travis Braden. Another spin for the 2-car. Harmless. Gets out of harm's way.
Right there is where Hemrick is just a little stronger, but we've seen that almost the whole race, just on the exit of 4.
But we get over to this end, and that Doug Stevens car, watch him just squirt out about a half a car length on every time he comes off for turn 2.
12 laps to go this time.
Now Cantrell in that yellow 28 keeps working his way back up toward Daniel Hemrick in the 21.
And he's got a lot of distance between himself and David Reagan. Reagan's got a mirror full of Tyler Green for 4th.
Doug Stevens has led every single lap that he's been out here this week, but he's got 11 of the most important laps of the weekend staring at him right now. Boy, he opened the door. There goes Hemrick. He's going to get the run.
Daniel Hemrick becomes only the 2nd driver to lead this race. And now it's up to Stevens to mount the charge with 11 to go, 10 to go this time.
Larry, you put the jinx on him.
I didn't mean to, but boy, he opened that door and Hemrick just went through it.
What happened here?
He stayed out a little bit wide. Did he get in the corner a little bit too hot?
Looks like he did, and because we've not seen Doug Stevens off the white line all night long.
Nope. He had not put a wheel wrong until just then with 11 laps to go.
He gave Hemrick just enough room on the bottom. That's the way to get around this place.
It's $250,000 to win. It's $100,000 for second. It's $50 grand for third.
And you can see, speaking of third, Cantrell, we talked about him in that yellow 28. He's worked his way right in there. There's going to be a lot of lap traffic. 8 to go.
They clear the 14, and I think they'll be okay from here. 7 laps to go this time by.
Doug Stevens dove in there that time, got to the rear bumper, but he actually hit the brake and got off of him.
And in doing so, lost the momentum. And now it's a 2-car length gap for Daniel Hemrick.
Now can Daniel Hemrick run these last 6.5 laps flawlessly?
He's actually pulling away just a little bit from Doug Stevens in that 77.
Lap cars getting plenty of room. Darrell Wallace actually going off track to let the leaders by. Hemrick won his heat race on Friday. The 19-year-old was the National Pro Champion in 2008 and 9. Started racing Bandoleros 9 years ago at age 10.
And he's actually starting to pull away from Doug Stevens in that 77. They'll be coming to 4 laps to go. Pretty clean racetrack. A good straightaway in front of him.
Reagan solid in 4th. Tyler Green in 5th. No challenge there. 6th is going to be a battle as Dilbeck takes 6th away from Carey.
Justin Lloyd trying to get 7th from him. He does.
Phil, I think the only saving grace for Doug Stevens would be if we get a caution here in the next lap or two, just to put him up on that rear bumper, because now you can see Hemrick just really pulling away. And now Doug Stevens is starting to overdrive the entrance to the corner, but rightly so.
That's a go. He knows he's got just a couple laps and he's got about 10 car lengths to make up.
Yeah, Doug Stevens actually, as they'll be coming to the white flag, he's got a rear view mirror full of Stephen Cantrell in that 28.
The difference between second and third, $50,000.
19-year-old Daniel Hemrick from North Carolina, racing for Bruce Silver's Racing Electronics team. Goes into turn 3, hauls it off turn 4. He's just won $250,000.
And I tell you, he is just a great kid. We raced against him in the Bandoleros, and boy, this is great to see.
Doug Stevens will bank $100 grand for second. Stephen Cantrell unofficially third for $50,000. David Reagan, 25 grand for fourth, and Tyler Green, $20,000 for 5th place. These are unofficial results, subject to tech inspection of these cars, and they go through a pretty rigorous tech.
But what a night for grassroots racing all over the country, if not the world.
I believe that's one happy young man, and rightly so.
There's 250,000 reasons to be happy.
You just think of how few racers in America have had a chance to get the kind of check that he's about to receive. Daniel Hemrick, the winner. From Doug Stevens and Stephen Cantrell, the celebration follows. Stay with us.
Speed's presentation of the Legends Million brought to you by Cabarrus County, where racing lives. Cabarrus County, home to an unequaled concentration of motorsports attractions. For more information, click on over to whereRacingLives.com. Well, how about that? One mistake in the entire weekend for Doug Stevens has cost him, well, in the end, $150,000. Daniel Hemrick wins the $250,000. Steve Cantrell coming home third. There's the rest of your top 10. Further back in the field, the Swilling brothers having their share of difficulties. What a night for the guy who wins the race as we take you back to the end of the unofficial results. And how about the celebratory, here it comes, backflip. Let's go to the winner.
It was the e-ticket drive, the e-ticket victory lane celebration. Can you even describe what this night means to you $250,000.
I can probably describe it, man. I can't even stand still. I cannot believe this. I can't thank ZMAX, U.S. Legend Cars enough for putting on such a great event. Oh man, so speechless. I just don't know what to say. I can't thank Speed, Short Track Action, Dan Snyder, Hoyt Demas, KMK, RPM, dude. I mean, all these guys put so much hard work in this deal. I'm telling you, nobody in the pits worked harder than we did this weekend. And this is why it paid off right here.
Walk me through the pass of the lead, coming down the front stretch, going into one.
I knew we were pretty good when we pitted, and then my crew chief, Dan Snyder, asked me if we had enough. I told him I thought we were in pretty good shape, so we swapped right side tires, and then we gave a little more bite. I'm telling you, that's all we needed. And Doug's awesome. He's the best in the business. They don't get any better than him. And to outdrive, to beat him and get by him like I did, I mean, it's unbelievable. He just started looking in his mirror a little bit and got away from him, and I drove up underneath him.
July 17, 2010, the day that changed Danny Emrich's life and career, $250,000. Marty?
Well, Matt, a race up front between two gentlemen. Doug, how did he get by you?
Well, I lost my right front brake there late in the race and started locking up the left front and couldn't get in as hard and washed up a little bit there and he got by me, but Daniel did a great job. I got to hand it to him. He drove me clean. He knew just how to put the bumper to me, when it counted, but he had nothing to do with that. I locked the left front up and slid up. The Pro Gold car was good all weekend. I tell you, it was really great, and I didn't get that 250, but I'm really happy with second.
And he walks away with $100,000, Mike.
What a great night of short track racing for everybody who participated. Pretty unbelievable.
How clean was this race, though? I mean,
wonderful.
You had a terrific pass for the lead, and by two gentlemen, a youngster, a 19-year-old, getting by Doug Stevens, who dominated the weekend. But what an impressive performance by all these drivers.
Yeah, honestly, Daniel Hemric is the big winner, but honestly, everybody that was here, over 300 cars and drivers, and I'm just proud to be a part of the first.
Everybody from John Holloman, who won the Bandit Triple Crown, or the Bandolero Triple Crown Championship this weekend, to the over 400 drivers who participated. Thank you, Don Hawk, for putting on this great show. Now, there's the promoter on the right for Bruton Smith for putting up the purse and saying, you know what, we can do this. And Dave, they have done it, and what a great night for short track racing in America.
Indeed, 3 days of action, leaving a couple of lasting impressions. Number one, the folks at Charlotte Motor Speedway and U.S. Legends Cars International have not lost sight of that original mission. Back in 1996, the idea was create an affordable form of racing in which anybody can compete. They continue to fill an important niche in American motorsports, and tonight they have also filled the pockets of Daniel Hemric with $250,000. Well done. The bikes are coming up next. For Mike Joy, Larry McReynolds, Phil Parsons, Matt Yoakum, and Marty Snyder, I'm Dave Despain. Thanks for being here.